Right, this isn't going to mean anything to people that join us on YouTube.
Yes.
Because you guys need to listen to the podcast, which you can find online by searching for Conversation Street. But Michael just Googled the answer to the question, what is David Barlow's son's name? Because he didn't think I was correct in saying it was Darren.
I just wanted to have a little check. Gemma was right.
So not only do you not hear what I say and doubt the answer, but you also have to Google it to see if I'm stupid or not.
No. I just wanted to...
Double check.
Look, I'm digging myself a hole here. Let's
when
get
I'm
out of
being
this.
stupid.
So, as I said earlier, this was a good episode,
welcome
a good
to
week
Street Talk.
for Coronation Street this week, and welcome to Street Talk, where we're going to be chatting about it. But should we start with do you fancy a bit of clickbait?
Yeah.
A Rooney to get going. This one comes from the Mirror, who say Coronation Street confirms Theo murder weapon, and it could give away his killer.
Struck through the face with a metal pole.
No,
was it Gary? Maybe it was.
Well, I think that the article was insinuating that yes, it may well be Gary.
Metal object.
Yes.
Yeah, metal object.
Which metal object specific? No, you're right.
What do you mean?
The article was basically saying, oh, he was on some scaffolding. Maybe he hit his head on some scaffolding. And
how do you know it's metal? I still don't know that.
Isn't that what Kit said?
Yes, I know, but how did he find out? You know what? We were talking about this
in the skull.
We were talking about this earlier, right? And while Corey was on, and Lisa and Kit are going, oh, we couldn't find the CCTV footage from the builder's yard. Do we know why? No, we don't know why. We haven't asked. So you're telling me the IT department can't tell you that it was deleted? That's so stupid.
You pointed out that there should have been footage before, footage after. Gary says that it gets wiped at the end of the week, so maybe he's just gone and wiped it all.
The IT department's like, oh, we don't know what happened. There's one before and one after. The one in the middle, I don't know. Have we checked to see if there actually was a day then? I mean, Thursday the 23rd of April sounds made up to me.
If Gary was wise, he would have deleted all of his footage. But what I'd do if I was Kit is I'd just pop in there and see... Let me just check your CCTV footage from last week. Oh, that's interesting. You still got last week's one. You mean it wasn't wiped at the end of last week?
Check your recycling bin.
Yeah.
The fact that they were like, oh, we don't know why it's not there. The IT department is not so dumb that they're like, well, there isn't one, so just move on. What do you mean? They would know, and if they didn't know, that's suspicious in itself, isn't it? What the hell are you talking about?
Well, Kit's still suspecting Gary. He said he deleted it. He just needs more proof.
He said he deleted it because he was shagging Maria or something, didn't he?
Yeah.
And they can't tell that it was deleted. Don't tell me that. Who have they got working there? Is it Kirk?
Okay, I know. We're starting to get... In the same way that there's been a bizarre number of trackers being mentioned and used in Coronation Street recently.
It's
CCTV footage and not quite being able to reclaim deleted footage is becoming a bit of a trend because of old Will and Megan in the hotel.
But wasn't I saying last week, didn't I say to you, that there are so many bits that they would know that they're not telling us because then it would be obvious who did it? I said to you, they would know how he died. They haven't said that. When he died, they haven't said that. And Kit just casually dropping it in to Gary that he was killed with a metal object.
Well,
they would know what size it was. They would know how big it was. They would have an impression of what it was. They would have an idea. And also, where was he hit on his body? Was he hit on the head? Was he hit on...
Yeah, I think they said the head.
I don't think they did.
I think they did.
Well,
they do seem to have stopped going down the avenue of whose brooch is this, haven't they?
What's the point of having coppers on the show if you're not actually following the investigation they're doing and you're only dropping in on them having conversations about...
So you're saying you want more police scenes?
No, I'm saying if you're going to have police... we've said this a million times. Everyone says this. We've been saying this from the very beginning. If you want to have a murder mystery story on a soap with police officers, do it properly.
Yes, this is true.
What's the point of having them otherwise? There's literally nobody asked you to put police officers as characters in the show. You've done that yourself. You've made a murder mystery and you've got the police investigating it, even though they wouldn't do it. So justify your decision by actually making it into a proper investigation and not have us only eavesdropping on Kit and Lisa when they're talking about, I don't know.
I'm not fussed. I'm just glad that we haven't been drowning in
Yeah, because you don't care about
that
kind of story.
I am not.
I find them interesting.
I know.
So it's like, oh, we're only going to do half of it, and it's going to be the worst half.
But no, anyway, like I said, I am still interested in the whole brooch angle, which they seem to have completely dropped.
Exactly.
Who was it they asked George and Christina, was it? Do you recognise this brooch? No. Okay, well, clearly nobody must know who this brooch belongs to. Let's give up with that. It's Summer's brooch. But anyway, that was my first bit of clickbait
frustrating.
for the week.
Like the only way they can maintain the story is by making everybody stupid.
Yeah.
That's not really fair on anybody, including the people watching. No?
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. Metro, Gemma. Mm-hmm. Coronation Street fan theory would mean colossal twist for Sally and Tim.
Tim's got a baby with Trisha.
Yes. Have you seen this? I thought you...
No, I just guessed it.
Did you? This isn't anything that we discussed. I don't know. I hadn't thought about this one before.
You're saying Sally and Tim.
Yes.
Tim's just had a conversation with somebody about shagging her.
Yeah.
Baby.
What would you think if that were true?
Boring.
Because it contains Tim.
How old would this baby be then? 15 years younger than... How many? 14, 13? I can't remember. Younger than Tim.
I don't know how old Tim is.
I'm surprised it didn't say, and they're already on the street.
Yeah, that's true.
It's going to be somebody we know.
I don't know how old Tim is. So it's going to be somebody 50? Who's in like... yeah, maybe. So someone in late 30s, early 40s.
Could be anyone.
Could be anyone. Kit, he's not that
Well,
old,
Kit's Bernie's son, so... But yes, I would have said the same.
Or so we think. Yeah, I do not like this idea, but when I read it, I thought, oh, they could be onto something. They could...
They're like, we're not going to get Rosie and Sophie back, so let's just make up another child.
I have no interest in Tim having a secret child with Trisha.
Michael, we've got 3 children at home. We don't need a new one. They do. Where are Brony, Shoney and Granny? I don't know.
I have no idea where they are at the moment. Not a clue. Okay, last one that we're doing this week from the Manchester Evening News. Coronation Street fans think they know what Sam Blakeman has done as mental health spirals. What's Sam been getting up to? What's he done?
He put gluten-free flour in the flour bin.
No.
And now everyone's cakes are very nice.
No.
He's killed Theo.
Yes.
Because he thought it was a butterfly.
He thought it was Will or something. Yeah. Some fans are theorising that Sam Blakeman has been
we've been saying
Theo
this for ages.
You know what? I've seen lots of quite convincing theories one way or the other with who killed Theo recently. And although I don't want to back down too much on my 100% cast iron suspicion that it was Miles, I'm hearing some good theories otherwise. But
the fact that the actor who plays Miles liked your comment makes me think it wasn't him.
Yeah, maybe you shouldn't have done that if it was him, because he reposted the little picture.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that if I was actually the killer and I was supposed to be keeping it a secret. But also, if I wanted to be in the show a bit more, I'd be like, hey, look.
But I'm always wrong with these things. The things that I am most sure about always end up just blowing back up in my face. And I've just got a horrible suspicion that's going to happen again here with me. So I'm open to other ideas.
Do you know what I think? I think life's trying to teach you a lesson that you're not learning.
I think you're probably right. What's that?
Have a bit of humility.
No, never heard of it. If Sam has killed Theo, I'll be very disappointed with Coronation Street because that does somewhat limit Theo. Also, it's a bit Bobby Beale, isn't it? In EastEnders, didn't he kill his sister or something?
First of all, it limits what?
It limits his time on the show if he bumps off Theo. And then
secondly, who's Bobby Beale and what did he do to his sister?
Oh, they did some kind of flash-forwardy flashback thing on EastEnders about, 10 years ago, and it turned out that it was Bobby. And I think he had glasses as well. So
was he the Maggie Simpson of EastEnders?
I think he was a bit of a nerdy glasses boy. I might be completely wrong. But anyway, I don't want it to be Sam. Not lovely Sam.
I want it to be, if it's a legacy character, that means they get away with it.
Not always. And is Sam really a legacy character?
Well, I think it's Summer, because Summer's like, by the way, I'm leaving one way or another.
Do you actually? Is that who your money's on at the moment?
Yeah, I hope she goes to America, because they won't mind if you can kill anyone in America, can't you?
Well, we don't have any extradition things.
They'll be like, hey, did you do it with a gun? And she'll be like, no, I didn't. And they'll be like, well, guess what? Everyone gets a gun. They love it. That's completely factual.
I'm interested to talk about those little summer scenes later, because that was kind of came out of I was a bit blindsided.
Do they still
by
ask
her
you on the
announcement.
plane if you were a member of the Nazi Party when you go over there? Because that was always my favourite question.
Did they really?
Yeah, when you were filling out your visa form, they'd be like, were you or have you ever been a member of the Nazi Party in Germany between these dates? I was like, well, no, luckily it falls outside that parameters.
Right, let's get cracking. We're talking about this week's Coronation Street, and we are going to start off with the Big Will storyline, because there were some revelations there that even we weren't expecting quite, Maggie to be quite so verbose in how she was recounting her history.
Commenting that they felt underwhelmed by this revelation. And I can understand that sentiment. Although I am just grateful that she seems to have gotten away with it so far. We thought this would be the end of her. When it was uncovered that Alan may have died at her hands, I thought that she'd be carted off in a police car with Finlay, faceless Finlay, looking on proudly.
Yeah.
But no, it seems as though she swerved it. But that,
No, Ben's
there's a lot of
still
things
not too happy with her.
I think we've been taken for granted. Like, Maggie would leave the show because it came out that she killed Alan, which I didn't want to happen. And number two, that Finlay would be cast, and we would see him before all of this happened, and that hasn't happened either. And I would put so much money on the fact that Finlay's going to be in Corrie before the end of the year, and now I'm just not so sure.
I have also less sure before.
We would see Finlay before we saw Mel. And now Mel's back in Perth, eating delicious Scottish award-winning food, waiting for Will to turn up and not even fussed about Ollie, even though that was the main thing she was trying to tempt everybody in with.
This storyline is based more around the fact, not about Maggie's confession, but about the fact that at last Will has confessed about what happened between him and Megan, so I'm calling it, at last, Will and Testament.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like
Will and
last
Testament.
Will and Testament. It is a bit of at last. We've been waiting for this to happen for a while.
Shouldn't you save that up for if they end up going to court with this?
I can keep this running, Gemma.
That's true.
Keep this running for a long time. We will then talk a little bit, just because I made the notes separately, because I thought it was spinning off for longer, about the Once Upon a Tim story when he goes to meet Trisha, but that's going to be super short.
I think you should take that one.
Why is this? Because it's to do with Tim?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fine by me. And then we're going to move on to what Sam's been doing up to. And Will gets a name check in the storyline titles twice this week.
He was in all three of these.
Yeah, hallucinations is going to come next, which I've definitely called them before, but I quite like that. But he is not just hallucinating anymore, is he? He's Roy hallucinating, he's Nick hallucinating, he's Toyah hallucinating. He's something going on in his brain, that kid. And I've been up and down about how well I've enjoyed that particular
story.
No, not the story.
Concept.
Just the concept and how they're portraying his psychosis on screen. But I really love today's episode, so I'm on a high at the moment.
I said this in the short, but I think it's hilarious that Coronation Street loves ghosts so much that now there are people who are alive who are also ghosts on Coronation Street.
There's anything for an apparition in Weatherfield, isn't it? Jodie the Toady is next, because she has been toadying it up with Daniel, hasn't she? Trying to get in his good book so that she can crash at his flat. Although she was also, making a move on Cassie and Doran and Bertie this week, maybe wanting to do a bit of nannying duties for them. But yeah, she has been a big old toady this week, hence the name of the storyline. And we are going to end with, who'd have thought that 2 years ago that this would be the final story of the week, the C story, if you like, but the Theo later perpetrator and all the investigations there are going to come in last.
These all feel very blended, don't they? I think Corrie's done a really good job of making these all feel like a cohesive story of Coronation Street. Like it normally is just 5 separate things happening, geographically related, and that's about it.
I mean, it's Jodie is the outlier here, isn't it? But even she is somewhat related. But it makes sense because they were all brought together for the April the 23rd episode, weren't they? Or the 1st of May episodes when it came out.
And this is what I say to everybody: murder brings people together.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah, round the piano at Christmas time, good old festive bludgeoning. Okay, do you want me to do the?
No. I want you to do Tim.
Yeah, but I think that the Will's Testament and Tim is the same thing.
Oh, yeah, I was going to get you to do Once Upon a Tim and Will Hallucinations.
No. I'll do the first two. You can take over the Will Hallucinations
story.
Please
feel free.
Only because this is talking about your not so favourite character Tim appears in here.
See, I'm sure everyone was really excited who is into the show and knows that I hate Tim. Was really interested to see what I would say about this, and I did consider this at length. And I thought to myself, can you put it to one side Can you be the bigger person? This is actually really interesting and good. And you shouldn't just have a petty grudge, but you can't even remember really where you started, and it's all just a bit. Bit. I can't remember, and it's a bit, and it's all just a big joke, and it's a serious topic, and you shouldn't be so petty. But really, I am fueled mostly by hatred, and it is a warm cape that keeps me, cozy at night, and I can't give it up.
No,
it's
I know
one of
you
the
really,
few
really
things
can't.
that keeps me going, and so I can't be behind Tim at all.
Well, I thought he was great this week, so
I thought it was rushed and obvious.
Rushed and obvious. I was taken quite surprised at how unannoying I found it.
To be magnanimous to my rival and most hated person in the world, I actually preferred the follow-up, which was the following day when he spoke to Trisha in the car. I thought that was much better because it wasn't. We weren't all expecting it to happen. I'm just going to say it now. I just thought that the Tim and Will thing felt too pat, and like here's an episode with Will where Will and Tim have a chat, and then Will decides, based on Tim's experience. We knew it was coming since Trisha came into the show and we realised that there were 2 grooming storylines going on. We knew this was coming. I just was like, okay, this is not unexpected. Nothing happened that was different.
I wouldn't say that I was fully expecting Tim would be the one to make Will, open his eyes and the scales come off. I thought it would be more a case of Tim as a third party would be watching what's going on with Will and maybe I were groomed as well, and that he wouldn't get so much involved.
We knew that there was going to be some revelation, whether it was Tim realising from Will or Will realising from Tim, otherwise it was pointless to have in the first place. It just didn't really do anything for me. It just felt like a narrative device that was neatly done. It didn't have any emotional impact on me, really.
Well, let's wait.
I think it was because I was obsessed with the fact that they were just driving around. Like, literally, he drove him to the police station. You could see they were going there the whole time, and there was so much traffic.
This would have certainly been an episode that might have benefited from location shoots, which I don't even. When was the last? Was Corriedale the last location shoot, or maybe they've done a little bit outside of the. A little bit outside of the studios. Did they have a bit round by the hotel possibly this year? But
what's the hotel?
The red and yellow hotel. The bit in the Trafford Park possibly. But they're just terrible for location shoots this year. I guess that Corriedale really did blow that particular budget. And Debbie's wedding.
Whoever bought that temporary traffic light is just probably getting a raise now, because they've used that so many times since they bought it for Daisy's exit.
It's hilarious. Literally, I think in my head canon for this is that those roadworks on Noble Street that held up Daisy over a year ago now have still been going on, because we know we've got flipping temporary traffic lights on our main road at the moment, and they've been going for months. Yeah. So it wouldn't surprise me whatsoever if in the world of Weatherfield, Daisy's temporary traffic lights were indeed the same ones.
Well, two of the conversations that happened between Will and Tim were behind temporary traffic lights. And you know, that was the same traffic light. They just moved it up the road a little bit and then got Jodie to move forward a bit in his car, and then they put it back and went, go on then, do another scene.
I know, totally. But, having... I think it was earlier this year, wasn't it, when we went to Manchester and we were also stuck at traffic lights in the city centre. It was an accurate depiction of what Manchester can get like at certain times of the day.
Michael, they didn't need to cut it to 22 minutes. They could have kept it a full hour and been stuck in the same place.
Yeah, very, very true. Anyway, look, let's get to that when we get to that.
I just wanted to say that up front. I'm sticking to the bit. I think it's funny to maintain that Tim can do no right, whatever. I don't care. Say what you like.
That's fine. You keep your petty grudges going.
Yeah, I will.
That's all right. It's part of your persona, isn't it?
I've got nothing left to live for.
Tell you what, listeners, when we're not recording, she's actually got a little Tim shrine. She loves him. She tells me how fantastic she finds him. She just can't do it for the podcast, can you? You can't admit publicly that you actually massively love Tim.
I've got a little
member
candle
of the Tim fan club
that smells like farts and kebabs.
And that's him, is it? Yeah. Ode to Tim.
Ode to Tim.
Right. Sorry about that, everybody.
That was
What
a side
happened
quest.
this week. So it was the mystery of the safe last week, wasn't it? We saw that Susie caught somebody with their hands on the readies.
Was it a mystery or did I solve it instantly last week?
I thought that we amused over the idea it could potentially be Megan on the run and had snuck in.
Why
there,
would you get... Okay, right.
But it wasn't. It was Will. It was the least exciting option. But hey, I don't mind a cliffhanger. So it starts off on Monday this week with Ben counting the safe money, and they're $2,000 down. Who could it possibly be? Sean, maybe? He was having a bit of an argy-bargy with Ben about money last week, and he was like, no, of course it's not Sean. How utterly ridiculous. Will comes downstairs, and he's like, no, I've not seen anybody robbing the safe. Honest. Definitely wasn't me. And, I think at that point we thought, you did it. So...
what? Who did we think?
Will. From the beginning, from this scene, it was like, oh yeah, it's definitely him, isn't it? So we get to see Megan, who had just popped out for a week, hadn't she? Following the murder week. She hadn't been seen since that confrontation with Maggie in the precinct.
Week following Murder Week, which was really 23rd of April. And we still don't know what day this is.
Don't ask what date we're at now, honestly. Not got a clue. Doesn't matter. Like I said, they are not going to try and explain it. It's just merged in with the true timeline that we're in now. So Will meets with Megan in the Ginnel in the precinct. They're in Scally's Alley, aren't they, there? And he's like, oh, we could try for another baby. No. She's not into this at all, is she? She's already given looks to suggest that she's had enough of him at this point. But she'll take that $2,000 off him, thank you very much, and she'll look after it and keep it safe. See you at the airport is basically how they end that conversation.
She's like, I can't believe you've done this, but thanks anyway.
Yeah, she was. She's like, you're a bit of an idiot, but I'll just
pop that down.
Pop that into my down my clavage probably, and there we go. And he's like, yeah, brilliant. We'll go to France. We'll eat our croissants in bed. Hooray! I love you. And he walks off with this big soppy grin on his face, doesn't he? Because bless him, he hasn't realised that she's not quite as into him anymore as he still is with her. So he comes home later, and Eva's about to go and have a word with Sean about this whole money thing, but she's onto him, isn't she? She's onto Will and says, did you take this? And he's like, no, oh my God, take the money. Why don't you just look in my bag? And he empties the bag out all over the table. Like, she's like, very, very guiltily.
Conclusive evidence. It's not in the bag that he voluntarily offered to show me.
Yeah. See, I think we need to look sewn into the lining of his coat, because that's where he's hidden things before, hasn't he? But anyway, we know that Megan's got it.
Tell you what, she's fallen a long way since she busted up that Driscoll's slave ring.
The O'Driscoll's slave ring.
Yeah.
I think no relation.
No.
Anyway,
you can tell it's different.
He says, not me. I hate you all. I just can't wait to go and live with my mum in Scotland. And Ben's like, well, work for me. It must be Sean then who did it. So
at this point, it could be a ghost as well.
Could be. Can like Sam's hallucinations manifest physically so much that they can rob the Rover's safe?
Yeah, I forgot the name of it, but there is a theory in paranormal circles that you can actually create a thought form.
Really?
And it can, and that's what they think ghosts could be.
Sam's hallucinations have had a very, very corporeal presence, haven't they? They're not even slightly translucent.
Yeah.
And he was able to rough Will up in the Ginnel. But anyway, it wasn't him, it was Will. So Sean and Eva have a bit of a chat later, and she's kind of very, very softly kind of going, you notice anything safe to get? And Sean is immediately like, how dare you accuse me of taking money from the safe? Of course it wasn't me. I've been working here 20 years or so. I would never do such a thing. And Ben says, did you take it or didn't you? And Sean threatens to walk out, although he ends up getting backing down on that a little bit later on, doesn't he? He does a good old head flick and strides off.
It's called a tulpa or an egregore.
Oh, thank you.
A manifestation of your thought form.
Nice quick Google there.
See, this felt, again, a bit half-hearted for me. This is why some of these episodes didn't really hit that much, because I wouldn't just be a bit offended if somebody accused me of stealing £2,000. In this situation, if I'm Sean, like, accuse me properly or don't. Like, don't just casually say, was it you? Because I'm obviously going to say no. So how are they investigating it?
Well, Ben doesn't beat about the bush, does he? He just comes out and asks them.
Yeah, I know. So, it wasn't me. So what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, want me.
I mean, what's the plan? That he was going to just immediately flake and go, yeah, I wanted to buy another Peacock t-shirt.
I kind of get what Ben's saying, though, because they set it up the previous night that, I know, it was very kind of plot convenient, wasn't it? It was a little bit, yeah. But there's not many other people that it could have been.
No, I know, but it was like, we've asked everybody else and they all said no, and you're the only person we haven't asked and said no yet, so it must be you.
Well, they didn't.
Well, everyone's going to say no, aren't they?
They didn't ask Gemma, they didn't ask Lauren, but I guess there was only so many people that were in the pub that it could have been.
Well, so. You know what I'm going to say to you?
What's that?
Real truffles are expensive.
Huh?
And waistcoats don't buy themselves.
Oh, Ollie.
Nobody asked Ollie, did they?
Nobody asked Ollie if it was him.
Ollie may be a...
Think I'm boring, do you? Wow.
Oh, wow, watch this. Not only did I kill Theo, but I also stole $2,000 out of the safe.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
And nobody suspects a thing. And I'm also the wizard that sold Sam Ritalin.
Yeah, just imagine like if the Weatherfield cops put together their most wanted list or suspicions, suspects, in order of probability. Ollie would be right down there at the bottom and say, he's just too boring to do it, isn't he, Lisa?
But it's fiction, so you flip it.
Exactly.
So whoever's the least suspicious is the one who did it.
Okay, well, keep that theory bubbling away there. We might be proven right, you never know. Anyway, Steve goes into the back with Ben. Ben's fuming. He's kind of in angry mode this week, isn't he, Ben? Which I always enjoy. And Ben says, look, I just don't really think that Will would steal from me.
It's lying and sneaking around and doing something he shouldn't do. Doesn't seem like him at all.
Not at all. He's also like just... He's really terrified that Megan's going to turn up and whisk Will away. And he also knows that he's supposed to be taking Will up to the train station later to get him off to Scotland, and it's going to be the most awkward car journey ever. And Steve says, look, it's fine, Tim can take him in the taxi. And Ben says, oh yeah, good idea. And so they all agree that that's probably for the best.
This was the first thing that felt contrived about this situation. Do you really think that Ben would be so scared of talking to his son alone for an hour that he wouldn't take him to the airport and miss out on the chance of saying goodbye to him for the last time for months? Come on, man.
It doesn't seem like the most fatherly thing to do.
He's like, you take him because I'm a coward. And that's not Ben, is it?
No.
That's not Ben. I'm sorry, that was silly.
It didn't bother me, but at the time...
Why didn't they have something like, I've had another heart palpitation, I've got to go to hospital to get it checked out, I can't take him. Something other than, I'm just chickening out of this.
Or you can just make his own way there. Get an Uber like everybody else.
No, you take your son to the airport.
I was just wondering, like, could either have taken him or something? But anyway, it doesn't matter. For whatever reason, the writers have contrived it so that Will and Tim are in a cab together. They just go off, don't they? Ben does end the things on a high note-ish because he tells Will that he's proud of him when he says to Will, look, you would tell me if Megan was back on the scene, wouldn't you? And Will's like, no, it's fine, it's not. And Ben's like, right, I'm proud of your son. Off you go, get in the cab. And we see the final shot on Monday that he's ordered a Go Lucky cab, the rival cab firm, from the train station to the airport.
Oh yeah, he's not going to the airport.
He's not going to the airport, he's going to the train station, and then he's going to go to the airport where he's going to get on a plane, fly to France, and have a jolly good time. Or so he thinks.
Bon vacances.
Tuesday's episode was set on the same day, which, apart from obviously the whole Murder Week thing, they've not done a whole lot of that since switching to 5 days a week, have they?
They rarely did it when they had longer episodes.
No, they didn't. But they've been fairly consistent since January of saying 1 day per episode, which I much prefer. But yeah, it's not looking good for Will because there's a traffic jam on Victoria Street, which we never see. There's never a load of traffic there, but there's temporary traffic lights, and is that where there's a skip that they're moving around? I can't remember.
I'm sorry again. I'm just going to say again how stupid this was, because Tim is a taxi driver, and he can see from where he leaves to go and pick Will up on the bottom of Victoria Street that there's temporary traffic lights that they have to sit behind for ages, long enough to have a heartfelt conversation, and he doesn't just go the other way.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
You're just ready to tear this all apart, aren't you?
I cannot
because it stars Tim.
Like in an area like that, in like suburbs, like backstreet suburbs of a city, you can't tell me that there's such a huge diversion around Victoria Street that it would take longer to go around it than to wait in the traffic jam. And you can't tell me that a taxi driver seeks out red lights to wait at.
Maybe he was just hoping to, get a bit of a high fare from Will. He could have taken a quicker route, but he's like, I can double my money here by accidentally taking him down this route.
I mean, normally if they were if this was a TV show that had a budget, they would have them talking as they were driving, wouldn't they? And it would feel way more natural.
Yeah.
But because they kept stopping them at these fake traffic lights.
The amount of dialogue we've seen was not long enough to cover the journey from Weatherfield to Manchester Piccadilly. So you're right, they could have had him going down the road or through town or anything, but like you said, they couldn't. It just kind of wound me up because it's like, oh no, we're stuck outside of Roy's. If only I'd turned the car the other way. Like when I saw that this was going to happen. Well, the other drama, of course, that was contrived to delay things for everybody was that there was a signal failure, and all the trains had been delayed on the day as well.
I got PTSD from this.
Oh yeah, I know. It reminded me of our last trip to Manchester. And Will pretends to check his phone, doesn't he? His train. He says, "Oh no, it's still running. It's fine."
I'll get
Obviously,
the next
he's
one.
not getting a train. He says, "Look, I just want to get to the train station. Don't turn around." He's getting a bit agitated at this point. So meanwhile, you got Maggie back at the Rovers, who also gets a notification about the trains, but she finds out that Will's train has indeed been cancelled. So they think, "Oh no, he's not going to be able to get to Perth. What are we going to do? Let's try and get hold of him."
This is why you take your son to the train station.
Yes. Eva, meanwhile, is telling Leanne about the whole stolen money thing, and why she kept quiet about it until now, I don't know. But this is when Susie decides to pipe up and says, "I saw Will taking the money."
Why didn't anyone ask her if she took it?
Yeah.
I mean, she's a little kid. She can
needs
do it
to get her next little Gucci handbag, doesn't she?
Yeah.
I bet she's got a whole string of them, but that's never enough.
Well, a
for
little
daughter of
kid,
Eva
you don't
Price.
know. A little kid could have stolen it maliciously, but she also could have gone, "Oh, I just took it to put it in my Block-It box that you got me for Christmas because I wanted to use it for something special, or I wanted to make sure it didn't get stolen."
You're just playing shops upstairs.
I was going to put it under my pillow and see if a tooth fairy left me a load of teeth. See if
The
it works the
reverse
other way
tooth
around. Anything.
I don't know, but they wanted to delay it for a little bit. I think that
I'm just going to pick
the
holes in
excitement
everything.
of the cliffhanger.
Maybe I should stop.
The excitement of the cliffhanger of like, ooh, what Susie's seen, which I did really appreciate because they don't do stuff like that very often. The payoff wasn't so exciting at the end of the day.
Well, this is why they didn't do it, because we moan. They're like, you're ungrateful.
Maybe.
You're ungrateful children.
Anyway, Susie says it's me. Sean's like, "Oh, I told you so." And when Ben then comes into the bar, he hears this and looks a little bit worried. Why on earth might Will be wanting £2,000?
Slap up.
I hear things are cheap up in Scotland.
No,
further up north.
It's an incredible food destination, and I would be spending $2,000 in the restaurants.
Just like that.
Yeah.
So Ben tells Steve to text him to bring Will straight back again. He's kind of realised at this point that Will's got no intention of getting this train, because in the back of his head he'd been thinking, what if he's going with Megan, what if he's going with Megan, and now he's got what he thinks is cast iron proof that they are indeed having a little romantic get together. What if I've already lost my son, he says. So the Tim and Will situation has moved forward a little bit. They're not on Victoria Street anymore, but Noble Street, which is the road outside of Joel's old flat, and as we said earlier, where Daisy was caught in a traffic jam in her final episode last year.
But it's not supposed to be connected to anything else, but it is just the road along the edge of Old Trafford Road that takes you to the police station.
Yeah. Right behind them is a bit of car park, and right in front of them is Weatherfield Police Station. And a bit further than that is a precinct, just to destroy your image that it's all in a big wider Weatherfield.
It's fine, everyone's been there now.
Anyway, so he's getting these messages from Steve pretending that it's nothing. He doesn't tell Will that it's actually Steve saying come back now.
He says it's Steve. It's not
Yeah, it's not your
not
dad.
Ben.
Not your dad. So this is where the this wasn't a lecture, was it? See, this is what I enjoy. I thought he kind of very subtly did this, and honestly, I know you're laying into it,
God.
but you're allowed to do, and you have every entitlement to do. But I thought that it would feel once I saw, oh, okay, they're going with this, are they? And once it was very clear that Will and Tim's stories were gonna entwine, I thought it'd be a whole lot sappier. I thought it'd be really, really twee. And I know you thought it was, but
Michael,
I was pleasantly surprised
that
it wasn't in my head.
I have actually no problem whatsoever. I think it's ridiculous that you're even assuming that I have a problem with anybody liking this.
No, I'm not.
I have no problem with people liking this. I know everybody liked this. I have no issue with it at all. I can see why people liked it. I'm committed to the bit. I'm not going to back down. I'm not going to talk about it because it's a joke that I'm going to keep going, right? And I'm not going to change. And I said my bit up front so I wouldn't have to address it during this section.
No, that's
so that
fine.
you could talk about exactly what it is that you liked about it, which everyone will agree with.
I don't know whether everyone will. I have seen some people that have taken your side as well.
Michael, I stand alone.
Do you?
I stand alone. If anyone else has got a problem with it, that's their own lookout.
Nobody's got a problem at all.
You just said they did.
No. Some people have got a problem with the scene. Nobody's got a problem with you.
Tell me what they thought then, because I'm interested.
I don't know. I've just seen mixed opinions on it. I was just ready for it to be really twee, and I don't think it was. And I think that they, in my view, it's because sometimes if there's something I know that's gonna happen in Coronation Street, and I get it in my head that I'm not gonna like it. It doesn't need to be perfect for me to finish the scene satisfied. It just needs to not be quite as bad as I thought it was. And maybe this was the case. But honestly, no, I thought the writing was great. I can't remember who did this episode. I thought that Joe's performance was brilliant. And actually, Lucas, who plays Will, he also did a bang-up job this week. I thought that it was all of them just really well. Anyway, so he kind of starts it off by saying, "Oh, Will, you must have had a tough time recently. What with all these accusations around you? Did all the kids think it was true that you were having it off with your teacher? Oh, I bet all the lads thought you were the dogs," he says. And it's interesting because Tim was also thought of as being the dogs when he got together with Trisha, didn't he?
He's relating his experience.
Yeah, he is. And I think what I also enjoyed about it and was happy with is that Tim doesn't start to think, oh, I was wrong for thinking I was, Mr. Lover back then. He hasn't. It was a different time back then. People did think he was saying that, he said, "Oh, my teacher used to call me stud" when he was calling the register at school.
That was really weird when he said
it was
that.
Weird.
I was like, that's what's going on there.
But
they should all have been arrested.
He's not full of shame that he was proud of it at the time. I don't think he
understands that he was a child.
Yeah, he just begins. He understands through the dialogue that he has with Will, and it kind of explains it to him that it was wrong, but I still thought it was great, and I loved that I was having attention paid to me by this older woman. And so he doesn't have this. I was worrying that this was going to end in some kind of Tim mental health crisis breakdown, or these hidden repressed memories, psychosis for Tim, I was worried for that, and it wasn't. I think he still looks back on the experience thinking, hey, I was really cool when it happened. I still felt that I was, it was a positive experience for me, but
I don't think he's thinking that. I don't think he's thinking it was a positive. He's just saying, I've got a different perspective on it.
Yeah. No, sorry, you're right. He knows that.
How many times have you had I don't know whether this applies to you actually. You've had a memory of something when you're a kid and you think back like, oh, now with wisdom and like a bit more knowledge about the situation, the context of this is completely different to what I remember. Like, okay, here's an example. When I was a kid, we the electricity meter would run out of electricity, not at my house, someone else's house, a member of my family, and we would just like sing songs in the dark, and it was a really nice memory of all of us kids. No adults there, just us kids, and I was looking after everybody, and we'd all just sing songs in the dark, and that was really fun. And looking back on it, it's actually a bit tragic and sad, but I can appreciate both things as like, I remember being happy, but I also, with my adult eyes, think that was actually a bit sad.
Yeah, I think that's a really good comparison, actually, to what's going on with Tim here. Anyway, so he was saying, did everyone think you were cool at school, Will? And Will's like, oh, no, not really. And then this is when Tim starts to open up about Trisha. I got all this street cred at school. He said, oh yeah, I was like a rapper drain pipe with Trisha, absolutely. But technically, it was rape. according to Sally and Steve, he kind of, the way he presents it to Will is everyone else is telling me that it was wrong. And I think that's his way of trying to get into Will's head, isn't it? And make Will...
He's opening an idea into Will's head that he is on his side.
Yeah, exactly. He's trying to get Will to relate to him here.
Hey, we're both in the same boat here, but other people don't agree. Can you believe that?
Yeah, and I quite like that was the way that he kind of got into it. It was quite clever. He says, I was taken advantage of, but yeah, I enjoyed it. Who wouldn't? Good job Megan never responded to you, eh? And I think that by getting Will to relate to him there, that's what gave Will the courage to say, well, because Tim also says, well, not that she would have done, no offence, and Will said, well, she did actually, and it wasn't particularly showing off, was it?
I think what? Sorry.
She did respond to me actually, Tim.
Yeah, but
it wasn't saying no, you're wrong. He's kind of recognised the kinship there.
He was sneakily getting him to confess.
Yeah.
Because he didn't feel threatened. He hasn't been able to open up to the other adults in his life because they're asking him from a position of Megan did the wrong thing, whereas Tim's like, hey, this happened to me as well.
Yeah.
And so he doesn't feel threatened by Tim because Tim's gone through it too. And Tim wasn't like, oh yeah, she did this to me and now she's in prison. Or I can't, I got...
It gives me nightmares. I got PTSD about it. That's post-Trisha stress disorder.
He's like, this happened and here I am telling you that happened to you, right? And Will's like, yeah, I guess this is a non-threatening way to explore my other feelings that I've been trying to hide from my family because I'm scared of hurting Megan. Even at the end of this week, he still didn't want anything bad to happen to her.
Well, Will also knows, he thinks at this stage, that even if Tim kind of turns around and says, I caught you, there's no proof. Will says, look, I'm just going to deny it if you...
Yeah.
So Tim knows that he's got to get Will to pipe up and confess himself. And Tim says, no, I'm not going to tell anyone.
I think also he doesn't want to sort of admit to his family he's a victim because he doesn't want to upset them because they're upset about what happened and Tim has got no stake in this. He's got no dog in this,
Yeah, you're right.
Fight. He's not going to cry if Will says that happened to me too. If he said to Ben and Eva, they'd go, oh my God, thanks for telling me. It would be a big deal. It'd be emotional and it's too much. It's too confronting for him to cope with because he'd have to then manage their emotions as well as his own emotions about what has happened.
Yeah.
But as Tim, it's like Tim's not going to do anything or say anything, and even if he did, Will doesn't really care about.
Yeah, well, Tim tries to keep on Will's side by saying, look, like you said, I've got no stake in this. I'll take you to the airport if you want, because he starts to go down the route of, that Daniel thing, that's not normal, is it? She was with you, and she was with Daniel at the same time to try and, get as a cover story. She didn't want to just stick with the man that you said that she loved. What on earth? So he's kind of subtly niggling at Will here, who threatens to jump out the taxi, and Tim's like, no, it's fine, I'll take you to the airport. You can do it. We can say you did a bunk at the lights if you want. Better lie low though, because the police will come out for you. Not in a threatening way, but just kind of casual. It's all right. I'm still cool with you.
At this point, he's admitting he's not actually going to the train station. He's going to the airport now.
Yeah. He knows. Tim knows, has put two and two together at this point that Will and Megan are planning this elope together. But anyway, the lights change and off he goes. And Tim pulls up outside the police station, and Will's furious because he's been tricked. And he gets out the car, opens the boot, gets his bag out, and says, don't bring me to the police station. And Tim says, no, I'll take you to the airport if you want to. But Megan's bound to get bored with you and move on. He says, look, and I don't care about Megan. Tim says, I care about you. So does your dad. So does Eva. And Will's like,
not Susie though. She dubbed you in.
Will says, no, Megan's waiting for me. Is she? Says Tim. And I think it's probably been building up in Will's mind. It wasn't just Tim who pressed this magic switch that nobody's been able to uncover before. But even since the wedding day, the 23rd of April, when Maggie's there with Megan on the top of the stairs, threatening to push her down, and I think some of what she said there had got to him. the jeers at school that he's been having to endure, everything, he's been repressing these feelings, or just being able to admit to himself, I think, hasn't he? Because he's been blinded by what he thinks is love. But even with the whole abortion thing, he must have thought, is my grandma telling the truth here? Did Megan have an abortion?
Why would she lie?
Yeah. And I think, Tim just gave him that little extra push that he needed. So I thought it was great. And then the final scene that we see in the episode is him walking into the police station. The Driscolls are already there, and Ben gives him a big old hug, says, "Good lad," and Tim just stands outside heroically. He doesn't even come in and say, "Here you go, Ben, it worked. I brought you your son." He just stands there watching on like Batman looking down on Gotham City after the Joker's been put in Arkham. He's like, "Yeah, I've done my job. I need no thanks. I need
no thanks. I just need everybody to praise me on a podcast."
All the podcasters just say how great I am.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I just loved it. I thought, it's because it was dialogue. It wasn't an action scene. It was some really great character stuff, which Coronation Street doesn't always like to lean into as much as some fans might like. I loved it. I really, really, really enjoyed it.
One thing you didn't put in here, which I think is really important, and I know that some people might have missed us talking about this, because we talked about this in the feedback section ages ago about Tim and his life. Because Tim said, alluded to the fact that this may have messed him up more than he realised.
Yes.
And we were talking about it in the feedback section, but I think it's worth saying again that Tim, as he is now, really is just a result of having married Sally. Because when he first came into the show, he couldn't read. And that is a really significant thing to consider, that of course he was neglected as a child. Did that make him more vulnerable? You don't get to be, how old was he? 13? I can't remember how old he was.
14, Tim 14. Was, yeah.
You don't get to be a 14-year-old who can't read because somebody molested you and then you went back in time and forgot how to read. Like his father, obviously, his parents obviously neglected him, and he didn't. But he got completely derailed by this. He has had a series of terrible relationships. He was married to somebody he didn't think it counted. His life's a mess.
Out of Faye's mum, who ended up killing herself with
a drug addict.
Yeah,
and then. Obviously none of this is his fault, that's what I'm saying. Like, has had a series of really awful things happen and had to survive, and who knows how much of what Trisha did to him has contributed to this. But if you think about his history, a poor illiterate guy who only learned to read when Sally sort of helped him and put him on that track. He had a daughter that he never knew and didn't help to raise. He was an absolute oaf layabout.
Yeah,
he had no direction in life.
Slacker.
Like, what? How much of that can you put down? It was a series of people that failed him throughout his life. Trisha failed him.
Jeff failed him. Yeah.
His teachers failed him when they were like, yeah, get in. All of his his kids, his friends, supposed friends at school failed him. His parents failed him.
Poor Tim.
Well, yeah, I mean, you think
a bit of sympathy
it's only
him,
Sally who has seen what he's capable of doing. Yeah. He didn't have the business that he owns is because of Sally, and it wasn't really until maybe somebody showed that they could love him for who he was, which is what Sally did with Tim, that he found self-worth and started to improve his life.
Yeah.
But until that point, all of these terrible things that happened to him as a child have all added up. And he did allude to that in this scene, but I really would like people to think about how Tim first appeared in the show. Maybe lots of people haven't seen back that far, but he was a completely different person now.
Yeah,
he's got stability, he's got love, he's got a family,
and he's become a lot more lovable as well.
He's got business, he's got friends. Yeah,
nice. That was a surprising.
It's not like I don't understand him; I just don't like him.
Okay, so then we'll come back to a little bit more Tim later if you like. I mean, you can talk about that one if you want to.
Well, he's achieved a lot, hasn't he? He really has achieved a lot.
He has.
Teaching yourself to read as an adult is so incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
Well done, Tim.
Well done, Tim.
You dick. That's a joke.
So we'll park Tim for a little minute at a temporary traffic light, maybe, I don't know, and then focus back on what's going on with the Driscolls.
He's just one of these taxi drivers that just wants to rack the meter up. I'm surprised he didn't go into the police station and say, "That's 50 quid, mate."
Yeah.
That's 50 quid.
Yeah, if only Will had had that £2,000, he probably would have kind of turned him up by the ankles and shook it out of him.
He's like, here you go, Dad, here's the money I owe you. It's 1,900 because Tim, he charged me for counselling.
They must have got the money back in the end, mustn't they? Because Megan gets apprehended at the airport. So
with a sweaty envelope of money. This is what...
If Kit was the one that arrested her, old bent Kit, he'd have been like, no, she didn't have the money with her.
Oh, I've put all 1,500 of it in the police safe. Don't worry, there's a grand in there that she gave us when she got in here. That £500 will be with you tomorrow, with £250 worth of it anyway.
So
I was just going to say, Megan gets arrested, doesn't she?
She does.
But this is funny because why was she at the airport? Why did she go to the airport that she was going to meet Will at? She's not going anywhere with him. She's not going to Paris with him. Why was she there?
I think she was just... Well, she might have been going to Paris. So she'd only bought one ticket, hadn't she?
Yeah, so what did she think was going to happen when he turned up and he didn't have his own ticket?
Well, I mean, I'd say it doesn't matter to her because she's been checked in at this point.
So why meet him there? Why tell him when you're going? You say, yeah, meet you there on Tuesday. You've gone on Monday if you're not a lunatic. Why are you there? Why did you go to France? Why did you go?
Well, she'd only just got the money, hadn't she?
She wasn't waiting for the money. She didn't know who'd stolen £2,000. She didn't need it.
Yeah.
The idea that she was at the airport makes no sense whatsoever. It's absolutely stupid that she would be at the airport.
Well, she was, and we just had to get over it, weren't we?
I mean, the alternative is that she made him come to the airport, was going to make him buy his own ticket, and then leave him in Paris, and then bugger off somewhere else.
Yeah.
How long do you have to keep this ruse up? She actually do quite fancy a croissant in bed.
Look.
What is she thinking?
Stop picking holes in the story,
I will
Gemma.
stop now.
It's been a good... It's kind of...
There's only
it's kind
so
of
much.
come to a conclusion, hasn't there? We're going to have Megan on trial, where it's all going to come out, but we're into the final furlong of this, and like we said before, this has really quite taken us by surprise about how much we've got invested in it.
This has been a very good story.
It's been really, really good. It's been surprisingly so. Anyway, Will comes downstairs on Wednesday, still grumpy because, he's Will. He's Will. Everyone's proud of him, and Ben tells him that if Megan's in a cell, it's because of what she did, it's not him. This is not your fault, Will. And he's also quite chuffed to find out that Will's decided not to go to Scotland anymore.
Just do his exams here.
Exactly. He's going to do his exams here like everybody. Maggie's obviously looking quite worried at this because she's thinking, what's Mel going to say? She's got this hot bit of info on me about what happened to Alan. Or, is it actually what happened? Or is it what she just thinks happened? Interesting when that comes up later. So, Megan's at the police station later. Lisa's there. Silent partner is there. Adam is defending her because, of course, he is. He's now the only solicitor in Weatherfield that can possibly do this. And,
he's the only solicitor that can speak.
Yes. It's a little bit on the silly side, isn't it? Just a tad.
Again, it doesn't bother me, but it is silly, and it's another one of these, how many holes you want to nitpick here, because you could just go on forever. And it is really fun. I'm sorry, it's just really fun to be picky.
They could have just put somebody else in. Adam's, he's like really doubling down on the, I will defend anybody, whether they're guilty, whether the whole town hate them or not, it's my job.
Well, once you've got a certain level, you might as well carry on.
I wonder, what's he
got to lose now?
What does Alia think about this? Alia, who can't, even stands to defend anybody who might be a little bit naughty. Or be associated with anybody who does that. Like, why is she saying, Adam, what on earth are you doing? Why are you defending this pedo teacher?
I think
it's our job, Alia, remember.
At this point, I feel as though she's self-combusted.
How do you mean?
In like a puff of outrage that they have to do their jobs. Why doesn't she just become a prosecutor?
I thought you were going to say something else.
No. She doesn't want to be... No, hang on. She doesn't want to defend anyone who's guilty, so she'd just be a prosecutor. But then she'd be like, I don't think he really did it. I can't put my... Just stop being a solicitor.
Stop being a solicitor, look, Alia. It's not for you. Right, so Megan's being interviewed, and she's still saying, I didn't do it. I'm going to miss my flight now, thanks to you. I have been nothing but professional throughout my entire career. And Lisa asked her directly. She's being her... I don't want to be, horrible about Lisa. She's being her very, very professional
direct
self and direct and take all emotion out of this self at the moment by saying, have you ever had a sexual relationship with Will Driscoll? No, of course I haven't, replies Megan.
Nobody said anything about Fringe McBangs or D.S. McKinnon.
What do you mean?
Nobody was like, oh, she's a bitch. It's like, that's the point. She's supposed to be a bitch.
If they're going to flesh her out as a character, you've got to be up to a certain type of scrutiny, haven't you? Just a little bit extra.
You've got to be a bitch if you're going to be a policewoman interviewing a paedophile or a murder suspect.
I love the moment where Megan's saying, only Will's delusional family believe this, and Lisa turns the tables on her by saying, well, actually, we've got a confession from Will now, and Megan's caught properly off guard by that. But she still carries on peddling, saying, no, honestly, I've done nothing wrong. I don't know why Will's saying this. It wasn't true at all. Lisa says, well, what's the hurry about leaving the country then? I needed a break from all this. Makes sense. What about the £2,000, says Lisa, which Megan denies getting from Will. He's just lying about everything, so she's really kind of peddling here, isn't she? She's trying to keep herself above water.
I always carry all my money in a damp, sweaty, brown envelope that says Weatherfield Rovers return in on it.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a coincidence.
Just a coincidence is exactly the same denomination and notes that they had in their safe.
Yeah.
Down to the number of fivers. It's just a coincidence.
Well, it all turns out for the best for Lisa and for the Driscolls, because Megan does indeed get charged later. The CPS have been having a word with Lisa, and she's like, yeah, off you go. And Megan's taken away babbling about this all being a mistake again. I can't wait for the court scenes, assuming these are going to happen, because she's already desperate at the moment, isn't she? And by the time this comes to trial, she's going to be, last chance saloon with it.
See, This is what everyone wanted, justice for Theo in court. And I think, like we said, there can only really be one court case running at the same time. It's just silly to have multiple. And also, it would be multiple of people being manipulative and lying about something that they had done wrong in a sexual relationship. So they'd be very similar. It's not like somebody's up for fraud and somebody's up for murder. They're kind of very similar crimes. And I'm not saying, of course, that people shouldn't demand that Theo got taken to court, because I agree to a certain extent that would have been optimal. But, one of the two of them had to. But now I'm thinking about it, I really am wondering whether she'll get away with it.
Do you think?
Because this could have also happened with Theo. I don't know how much evidence they would have had.
I think that we're going to be left narratively satisfied by the end
but
of
what
this.
I'm saying, I don't think she's going to get away with it. But what I'm saying is, if they've got no evidence apart from what he's saying, and Megan is convincing enough for the jury to insist that this did not happen, this is a lie, this is a delusion of a child, there's no evidence anywhere that you cannot find. I mean, does he... There's no trail unless Will has some kind of still got his phone. I don't think there's anything. I don't know. It'd be really interesting to see, because I do think if she gets away with it in court, something else will happen to her and she'll be killed, or or she'll commit another crime that she'll get in trouble for. Also, what the heck happened to this other child in another school, and what happened to the evidence that Kit told the trio of sisters that he had just uncovered when he told them it's okay to beat her up because it turns out she's a pedo?
Yeah, they haven't revealed that yet, I think, have they?
But why didn't they use it to arrest her in the first place? And what day are we on now? Because this was weeks ago, but in reality, maybe it wasn't. I don't know what the hell's going on with the timeline, but Kit definitely said they had some new evidence, and then it's like, oh no, sorry, I got confused. That was just a Greg's order that came in.
With Will, I wonder whether they can go down the route of, like, if he can prove, like, she's got a mole on her bottom or something like that, That's the sort of thing that could very easily just turn the tables and make it so, well, there's only one way that, isn't there? So I don't know. I think it's going to be. I think it's all going to work out for the best in the end. But I'm sure that.
Of course it will.
I hope that
There'll be dramatic scenes.
I hope that they string it out. Because I like a long court case on Coronation Street. It feels like recently they've been over and done with in a couple of days. So we all know, even though we know how it's going to go. Yeah, I want to see her really sweat there, but also have times in the court case where she thinks that she's winning.
Yes.
But then just have the carpet whipped out from underneath her at the end.
And Adam.
Yeah, presumably Adam will be representing her in court.
Why couldn't Adam have been representing Will, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
I don't know. Right, so Will. But basically, the rest we see of Will on Wednesday is him still, even though he's confessed and he's done the right thing, in his heart, she's still somebody that he had this really special, loving relationship with, isn't he?
Well, Ben has to tell him that she had only booked one ticket at the airport, so he actually didn't have. So he's like, we would have gone to France. It would have been great. And Ben was like, she only had one ticket.
Yeah, he seems a little bit regretful that he actually confessed to the police station that he was tricked by Tim, I suppose. But this thing about there only being one ticket, Will's still a bit in denial, but it comes closer to getting him to see that this was all over.
I mean, if
he just didn't realise it.
If she had booked him a ticket, there would be no question that she was up to something nefarious.
Yeah, that's very true. Actually, that's very true.
You know, if he wants to make some assaults in his mind to try to justify, he would have said, "No, I had to book it." She would have wanted me to book it myself so that it couldn't be tied back to her. But he didn't think of that, did he?
Didn't think of that.
She's not going to be able to talk to him. This is the thing.
Yeah.
There'll be no conversations. She can't influence him anymore. She can't manipulate him. She can't put thoughts into his head about any of this stuff.
Yeah, it's just going to be down to the family to help him see that he's doing the right thing. When even at the end of the episode, he kind of realises, he vocalises, "Oh, this was all one big lie, wasn't it?" And that I think that's the first time I've really not the first time, but this is the most I've ever felt sorry for Will. Because every other time that I felt sorry for him, like, you're being manipulated here, you're being groomed here, mate.
Felt a bit frustrating.
It's been like, but you really are a grumpy old sod. And here he was just like really vulnerable, a 16-year-old boy having a cry on the sofa, being hugged by his dad. And I thought that was a really, really touching scene.
I really did love her.
Yeah, I would have done anything for her.
Ben sits next to him and Will bursts into tears. And it was like, it was a great moment. That was a great moment in this story, to have him realise what had happened to him. But, many times, this is kind of what happened with Todd and Theo, where Todd would realise what's happened and then he'd go back and construct this lie to protect himself about what was really happening to him.
Yeah. I think when we were in the middle of this story, we wondered sometimes, are we ever going to actually properly like Will? Is he going to be grumpy forever? Is he just a bit of an unlikable character? So it was nice that even this week we got to see some sides of him where we were saying, oh no, there is like a nice guy in there. Because Thursday is all about him going to speed dial, isn't it, with Steve and Tim. And there's just a scene when they go there and they're just having a nice time, really. And he's having a laugh. And it's, I suppose, this huge weight that's gone off of his mind. And he's just being able to act like a normal person and not somebody that's been sneaking about, which has been his life for the past 6+ months.
It's funny because Tim would have had a completely different experience of his relationship with Trisha.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have lied, he wouldn't have hidden it. There was no secrets. It wasn't in conflict with his family or anybody. Everyone was like, yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, he didn't need to
hide
have
it.
to
Nobody
come to terms with it, because in his head there was nothing, and everyone else's head there was nothing to come to terms to.
I mean, we haven't mentioned, obviously,
it
Jeff
was acceptable in the 80s.
Jeff was his dad, but Elaine was his mum. What the hell was she doing?
I think that if we were looking, I can't remember.
She was abused by Jeff, and then they broke up.
Wasn't Tim told that she was dead?
Oh, maybe.
I'm trying to remember.
I don't remember
what the
when that was and how old. I don't
Yeah.
think they've said how old he would have been. But again, another example of how Tim was a vulnerable person when Trisha and he had that relationship, because he would have possibly been grieving the death of his mother, or...
Yeah, I can't remember what the timeline...
He did think his mum was dead, didn't he?
The Tim line. I think so. But yeah, I can't remember exactly when it happened.
And also his dad's a magician.
Yeah. What's that got to do with it?
That's going to screw you up forever.
So Thursday...
There's two people in the world I don't like. Tim and magicians.
Carny folk.
No, I won't say that.
Thursday is more about Maggie, isn't it? And the big revelation that she drops on Ben, which I hadn't seen coming this early on in the storyline. So, and even when Megan phones up Maggie first thing on Thursday's episode and kind of very smugly says, well, you'd better get me out of this, otherwise I'm going to reveal to the family that you bumped off Alan. I'd somehow forgotten that she had that little nugget.
So you remembered that Mel knew, but you forgot that Megan knew.
Yeah, I forgot that
And
Megan knew, even though it was patently obvious.
Including Coronation Street, has forgotten that prisoners can't just phone people without anybody listening to the conversation. So the fact that Megan's phoned somebody up and said, "Oh yeah, I know you killed your husband, see you later," that would not get flagged, I guess, no? Oh, right, all right.
Well, she's still not been sentenced yet, has she?
It doesn't mean you're allowed to phone people up and threaten them on the... What do you mean?
I don't know whether there's different rules for new people.
But before you use this phone, right, in prison...
Did you do it?
Is this for blackmail or not? Because there's a special blackmail phone over there.
So, anyway, Megan is still trying to make Maggie see that this is a load of bunkum, but really it's...
Who is? What?
Megan.
Megan's...
Trying to make Maggie think that this whole affair thing is all in Will's head, but also it's a you better tell everybody else that it is, otherwise you are going down, missus.
I've got to commend Megan for just sticking to her and not...
Well, you got to, haven't you?
I know, but...
Don't give up. Never surrender.
Loads of villains gloat about it. Like, Maggie literally gloated to Megan that she killed Alan when we thought she was going to push her down the stairs. Yeah. Everybody gloats about the crimes they do on this show, but Megan is really committed to making sure that she never lets on.
She's a master criminal.
She is.
And very, very watchable, and I'm...
She's a great
one
actress.
thing that I've enjoyed this week's episodes, but I'm a little bit sad that we've not got much left of Megan on the street, have we? I can't imagine we're going to be seeing a whole lot of her in prison while she's waiting for this to come to trial. This could well be it until the trial. We'll see her for a few episodes, get sent down. Goodbye, Megan. These
are such a cracking bunch of actors.
Yeah, they've got a really, really good team here in this story, which definitely helps me enjoy it. Anyway, I've already said a bit about Will and Tim and Steve going out for a curry. There wasn't a whole lot more. The big drama is Maggie and Ben, and Mel has rung as well, hasn't she? Because she's not happy that Will isn't turned up at Scotland, and Maggie's like, "Look, don't answer the phone to Mel. We need to talk." Oh, so she knows that because Mel knows.
She's being threatened by Mel and Megan.
Yeah, so she thinks, well, I better confess myself. And I found these scenes fascinating because a bit like with Jodie, and you never know what she actually thinks and what's true and what isn't. With Maggie, it's not 100% certain when she confesses to Ben what happened, i.e. there was a tussle, I didn't push him, it was just an accident. Does she really think that, or is she just saying it to try and make Ben think that she's not a murderer?
When Alan fell down the stairs, we were having a row. There was a tussle, and the next thing I know, he's at the bottom of the stairs. I didn't do it. And he says, "Are you saying you pushed him?" And she's like, "I don't know."
Yeah, she says, "I don't know." But as the conversation goes on, she's trying to make it very clear this was nothing premeditated. It was an accident. Yeah, it was a terrible, terrible accident, she says. I didn't push him. I didn't. And
I love her so much.
But...
And Ben.
As a big Maggie supporter, we've been saying all along, if you go back and watch this flashback, it is incredibly ambiguous. But I was leaning more towards she didn't push him. And that's not just because I like Maggie. I mean, this was only, a month into us even knowing Maggie. It really did not look like she pushed him. So I find it very easy to believe her here. And I hope that Coronation Street sticks with that narrative, because if it ever turns out that she did push him, not that there could be any evidence, because you can't say, "Okay, Finn, when you were 8 years old, what did you see?" It's not going to hold up in court.
Do you think it would haunt you to not know?
Oh, probably.
Because I think...
How many times has she replayed that scene in her head?
I think we said, does she know she didn't push him? Does she think she did push him? We haven't said, does she not know herself? Because that would probably destroy you more than anything else.
Yeah.
I don't actually know what happened. I can't remember. I don't know. Did I do it? I bloody hope I didn't.
Well, but when it's a natural kind of human behaviour. When you get accused of something that is ambiguous, it will eat away at you, thinking, did I do that?
Yeah, and
I can't remember. It was all over. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't, and it will kill you. The fact that you will never ever ever know.
Really know for sure.
So that must have totally screwed Maggie up.
Yeah.
And I was kind of under the impression that possibly Coronation Street wanted us to think that she's been secretly covering up the fact that she's a murderer all this time. Mm-hmm. which would have then given that character a shelf life. But honestly, the dialogue this week, I was, and it was easy for me to believe because I wanted to believe it. It really came across as Maggie thinks that she's innocent or that she doesn't know, and doesn't know isn't enough to get you.
Well, she says she
get you a
doesn't
visit
know.
from the soap gods.
She said she doesn't know to Ben, but she would say that. That's
She
the
would.
most she's ever going to admit to, right? Do you not think?
Yes.
That's the most she's ever going to admit to. I don't actually know, because she said that already. That's the worst thing she can say. She's not going to say she pushed him. But, like, this thing she keeps saying about, I'll do anything to protect my boys, I'll do anything to protect my boys. Is that part of that some kind of fiction that she's woven for herself to protect herself from the idea that she did kill Alan out of rage?
Maybe.
And she just keeps hanging on to this, I'll do anything for my boys, I'll do anything for my boys, as a kind of justification in case she did kill him.
I am a good mother.
I did it for a reason. It was a good reason. A mother protects her cubs, you know, like watch any nature documentary with a mother and her litter of you know, she'll die, she'll defend them from anybody, she'll fight tooth and nail. That's what I did.
Yeah, no, you're
She's such a
right.
great character.
I think she really... I loved these scenes. I had no idea that they were coming, you know.
No.
Switching on Thursday's episode, I did not think by the end of that Ben would know.
I was a bit underwhelmed by this because it did feel like we were all waiting for this to come out in some explosive manner, and instead it's been drip fed to various people.
How did you find Ben's reaction to it?
Again, a bit underwhelming, but then Friday followed it up with a bit more, I think. Like, you would be stunned. If you heard this for the first time, you'd be like, well, hell, and it'd take you some time to process, right?
Because his whole idea of what his childhood was like has just been left in tatters, hasn't it? He always thought that his ma and his da had a fairly civil relationship. He thought that his mum, you know, he idolises her, doesn't he? The fact that he's so permissive of her being absolutely vile towards his wife shows how much esteem he holds his mum in. And now it's just completely gone because she's, in his mind, been lying to him all these years.
But hilariously, or kind of ironically, he's been saying this all the time. Like, she'll do anything for her family. Like, she cares about us. She'll protect us. This is what she's like. Like, she's overreacting to you, Eva, because she's so protective of us. And, you know, that's all she cares about. Now he's thinking back to himself, bloody hell, that wasn't a lie at all.
Yeah.
She's gone as far as killing somebody. It's not a funny quirk. It's not a sweet old lady, you know, personality trait. It's not like some kind of quirky Irish nuclear family thing. She's actually a murderer. And she's been telling me in code this whole time, I'll do anything. I'll do literally anything. And I've been playing along like a simple idiot, thinking it was all to my benefit. Actually, she killed my dad, and I've lost out on years of being a family, of having him, you know, be by my side because she's a psychopath. It's not just a funny, you know, mother-in-law from hell thing.
Yeah. I think that it's definitely within his personality to get pretty irate about it.
He's going to wind himself up.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I'm going to say fair play to Maggie for not... She didn't really hold anything back, did she?
No, I know.
She said Mel knows. She said that Megan knows. She even admitted, yeah, I persuaded you to let Will go to Scotland.
Yeah.
I think she was laying out all her cards here and was being incredibly open to him. And it's just unfortunate for Ben that openness is... Yeah, completely shattering his whole life up to this point. So she kind of hangs her head and slopes off, books herself into Chariot Square. And I thought that was really clever, actually, having her and Debbie having those scenes together.
I really like that, yeah.
I'd not made the link, even though it's really obvious. I've lied to my son for most of my life, and Debbie's like, yeah, join the club. So these two characters who've not really had anything to do with each other up until this point, had they? They share a glass of wine together and, and just have a little chat in mutual, we've kind of screwed up with our sons, but...
Debbie doesn't really know what she's saying, but it's funny that they both have these dark secrets that they're kind of unsaid, because she pretended that she'd killed Billy.
Yeah.
And Maggie doesn't know if she killed Alan, but they both feel like they did it for their kids.
Yeah, well, Debbie says, look, your son will eventually realise that any lies you told came from a place of love. And I don't...
What lies did Debbie tell Carl?
Well...
None, really.
I'm your sister.
I'm not your
That's
mum.
a massive lie. That's a huge... That's the biggest
but
lie
no, I
of
mean
them all,
recently.
isn't it?
I mean recently.
Well, there was the whole thing about keeping the Elaine phone call quiet, wasn't there?
Yeah, but I mean, you know, since she outed herself as his mum.
Yeah. So the lot. Has Maggie been lying about Alan, or has she just not been telling the whole truth?
Come on.
Oh no, she has, because she had told Ben that she was at the bottom of the stairs.
She found him at the bottom of the stairs.
Yes, yeah, that's it.
But she found him at the bottom of the stairs, or she went down the stairs after having pushed him to the bottom of the stairs.
Yeah, so she had been not completely truthful about that, so fair enough. But
she's like, look, I've lied to the police about it. I've got to lie to you about it too. Otherwise, you got to be consistent with your lies, son.
Well, Debbie says, just don't ever give up on this. You'll survive this. Ben will come round. Don't worry about it. But Maggie's absolutely distraught, and Ben, as is Ben, because he's sitting with Eva in the pub later, isn't he? And he's mostly upset about how Maggie lied about how happy her marriage to Alan was, and that would really screw you up, wouldn't it?
And that Finn knew, everybody knew.
Well,
his family knew. Everyone knew, and didn't tell him. And his little rosy picture of his life that was with his dad that was cut tragically short by an accident, and his mum and dad loved each other. Lie after lie after lie now.
I mean,
his mum had an affair. She might have killed her dad. Like, what?
Are you assuming that things will turn out okay and Maggie will eventually be welcomed back into the bosom of the Rovers?
They'll be friends again. It's her Rovers anyway.
It is her pub, exactly. I mean, if anything, she can throw him out.
I mean, they haven't even been in the show for a year, and this is the second time she's been kicked out.
Is it only the second time? It feels like more. Yeah, he'll take her back. I think that Eva's gonna work on him.
If I was Eva, I'd be terrified of this woman now. I know that she's killed before.
I mean, it could also be that, and again, I don't know when this trial's going to be, that they held out this dispute until then, and then Maggie does something heroic to help give evidence that gets Megan sent down or something.
Or maybe Megan escapes, or she gets off, and then Maggie kills her by pushing her down the stairs, and then she's like, "Oh, you don't hate it now."
Yeah.
Be a bit more consistent with whether I'm allowed to throw people down the stairs or not. 1 minute you're mad, next minute you're happy. God.
I'm really, really keen to find out what happens here, because I love the dynamics between them all in the back of the Rovers, and I want Maggie to be back and ruling the roost again, and to have this weight off her shoulders. It makes me wonder whether part of her prickly personality that we've seen is partly because of this massive secret, this burden that she's been carrying for all these years, and now that's been lifted from her. Will she ease off a little bit? Will she not be quite so harsh towards Eva? Will there be a bit more harmony there? Not that that'd be a little bit boring to watch as.
Well,
I do like the spats between them.
We chatted with Pauline McGlynn before about Maggie being a bitch, and she's like, who wants to be nice doesn't tell stories. It's more interesting to...
Yeah, I was thinking that as well, but I want there to be harmony.
Well,
I want there to be harmony, but she doesn't lose the spikiness that make us love her.
It's the stereotypical crotchety old woman in fiction where they lower the mask for a very brief scene where they go, I'm actually not evil at all, I'm really nice. But now I'm back to being evil again.
Yeah. Something like that I'd be happy with. But it's not happening anytime soon, at least, because at the beginning of Friday's episode, Ben's chucking everything in bin bags out the Rovers. It was Maggie that chose to leave herself on Thursday, wasn't it? I can't remember whether he chucked her out. It felt more like, in my memory, she's like, "Oh, better be going then. Yeah, I'll give you some time." And he's just upset. But by Friday, he's clearly woken up absolutely fuming by the whole thing, and he doesn't want anything to do with Maggie again. And Eva's trying to rein him in a little bit, but he's in a right mood.
This was so funny. This is just such a soapy thing as well. Like, my ma killed my dad, so I'm gonna throw her stuff out on the pavement. And he was like, calm down, babes. Don't break her ornaments. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
She's a murderer.
Exactly. And speak of the
And
devil, here
everyone's
comes
just like,
Maggie
and
behind
it's
him.
just funny hijinks. It's just like, yeah, this is a soap. This is what happens in a soap. Your stuff gets chucked on the pavement. Doesn't matter if you had an affair, if you burnt the toast, if you toasted your sister's passport, or you murdered somebody. Your stuff gets thrown out and everyone has a laugh.
I think it's frustrating to Ben as well that he's now been burdened with a secret of his own because they decide they can't tell Will or Susie this. So he's now going to have to be covering for his possibly dad murdering mother.
They should
just
tell
to protect
them.
his children.
They should tell them because they'll just think it's cool.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, if your nan's a murderer, that's cool.
But I suppose
they never knew their granddad. They don't care.
But Ben would have to be careful about what he said because it could well be true. He doesn't know and will never know. Did Maggie actually push? So he can't tell
He's
Will.
assuming.
He can't tell Will your grandma killed your granddad because if that turns out that it wasn't true,
he's done it wrong.
He's done it wrong.
It is quite funny and very telling that Ben does not believe her when she says she didn't actually do it.
Yeah.
Because most people would want to believe their mum. And the only evidence that he has is his ex-wife who hates him, a paedophile, and his brother that he hasn't actually double-checked with. And Maggie's the only one going, I didn't do it. Mel and Megan only know from second-hand information.
I think
Why hasn't he asked
I
his
don't
brother?
know whether Ben has decided. That's a good point. He needs to be on the blower to Finn pronto. I don't know whether Ben has decided. Well, she definitely killed him. I think it literally is all the lying that there's been. You've been keeping this a secret from me all this time. You made me think one thing about. You've ruined my happy memories of you and your dad my dad together. But that all of that is the sort of thing that can be calmed down from given a bit of time.
He's
and I think that's
worse.
what Eva's trying to say. That exactly.
Ben has done this so many times. Kicks Maggie out, kicks everyone out of the pub, has a temper tantrum, and then Eva has to be like, "Oh, don't worry, think about your art." And then he's like, "Oh yeah."
Yeah. Well, he
I still don't know if I've got myocardial, whatever it was.
Oh yeah.
Off of
Jim McDonald.
Yeah.
That's the test results taking a long time, aren't they?
Somebody's getting paid overtime.
It's like I thought that my blood tests were bad enough, and I had to wait a week and a half.
Phone up the hospital and be like, "What do you mean? What results? We haven't." Oh God, yeah. Oh, we should have done that, shouldn't we?
Ben is fuming at Steve later because he takes Maggie to number one, doesn't he, for a little bit of a
Maggie
bit of a
rocks
chat.
up and says, "Look at all my stuff, how horrible." And he's like, "You're not my Ma anymore, you're Maggie, bugger off." And Steve says, "Looks like you need somewhere to store a load of plastic bags."
Yes.
Amy's not in it at the moment, you can put it in her bedroom.
So anyway, so that happens, and then Steve comes back around the pub and says, "Look, Maggie's really cut up about all of this. We need to try and sort this problem now." And Ben's like, "No, we don't." He basically just gets all hot and bothered again, orders Steve out, disowns him, orders him out of the pub.
Obviously, they haven't said what the argument's about, so nobody really knows why Ben's gone crazy again.
I can't remember whether Maggie did tell. I thought that Maggie did tell Steve everything.
Well,
I haven't. We're kind of beating about the bush here because I've discovered that the notes that I've written about that particular scene are not in order here, so we're going to find them later. So yeah, Maggie, I think she has told Steve, but Ben's also mad about the whole Jim McDonald thing, and this is the straw that's broke the camel's back, really, isn't it?
what's he madder about?
Mum
having an affair and having a secret brother, or Mum killing Dad by pushing him down the
Honestly,
stairs?
you move into a soap. You go all these years living in Hull and everything's hunky-dory. You move into a soap and suddenly all these secrets come spilling out of the cupboard. Anyway, he's mad at everyone. He chucks everyone out the Rovers. Exactly. Chucks everyone out on the Rovers. Has a bit of a snuggle with Eva on the sofa, and he's just really upset with himself. He thinks he's a failure as a son, failure as a dad, everything. And she's like, no, you're good enough for me. It's absolutely fine. Yeah, and that's kind of it with that story, isn't it?
They should have some sexy Mexi and forget about it.
Yeah, maybe she'll make things up to him in the bedroom later. Who knows? But that was basically it for all the Driscoll drama this week, and it was an awful lot of fun. Not classic Corrie, obviously, but a good pace to the drama. And I think that the fact that in the same week, not only did we have Will finally admitting what had happened to him, we had Maggie confessing hers. Yeah, it was just like bang, bang, bang in terms of shocks and confessions, which made great telly, I'm going to say. thought was good stuff. And then we had, obviously on top of that, I said all the Tim stuff that you really enjoyed on Wednesday was basically him
confronting
Trisha and after having had a stakeout at the Freshco car park, and she says, look, it was great at the time. Again, nice that it was kept in character.
She's at work and he makes her sit in the car.
On her, yeah. And she says, I've just started to realise, actually, even though it was great at the time, it was wrong. And she's like,
no.
What do you mean? What I did to you was wrong.
Yeah, he specifically says, what you did to me was wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And she says, you were the one that was bunking up off of school to chase me. You're making it sound like I abused you. And he's like, well, it was really. And it's true. As the adult, she was the one there that ultimately had the responsibility to stop that before it started. But she is refusing to take any blame for this whatsoever. She says, no way, sorry, you were chasing me. You knew what you were getting yourself in for. You were mature enough to know, that I was the older woman. I'm sorry, no. And this was donkey's years ago. I'm not having it. So she kind of gets out of the car.
Well, she also says, I'm not taking blame for anything that's happened in your life because of what you decided to do.
All these screw-ups,
sorry,
you're trying to put on me.
Sorry, you had a crap life, but it's your own fault.
Yeah, and it's interesting because do you think that they are still going to potentially go down the route of Trisha is a lot more seedier than... Because again, a bit like Megan, who is very sweetness and light, particularly at the beginning, before we knew about this relationship, Trisha is kind of coming across as quite a nice woman, isn't she? But is she going to go down the villainous route and find out that she's got a string of other people that she's been doing this to? Well, yes, we know that she does,
because there was on social media, Sally found her online, and somebody said, you know what you did?
Oh, yes.
So she's very much similar to Megan in that she seemed like a serial offender. It wasn't just a inappropriate relationship that was fun at the time and everybody didn't have a problem with the older woman, and it's all just, like a weird 80s sitcom where Tom Hanks suddenly becomes an adult for a night. That what movie, that's the sort of thing that we were watching at the same time this is going on with Tim. You can see why he was confused.
Yeah, exactly.
So it wasn't just that, it's also that she was she was a serial abuser, and that she was preying on people, and she was calculated, and she picked victims.
I almost don't need to see her
again
face justice.
Well, I don't need to see her again now. I think that Tim confronting her and rattling her...
This was the closure that he needed, wasn't it? I can't
see how is she going to get in, is he going to call the police? What are they going to do?
Yeah,
I can't see what's going to happen.
There's definitely a story there that could be told, but I don't think it needs to, because not everybody does...
Well, let's not...
No, I'm saying not everybody gets justice in the soap. Sometimes
in real life
a bit like what's his face, Aaron, who raped Amy. He's got away with that,
but
and that way made it really clear on that story that sometimes people do.
I know, but this is the interesting thing that you've just uncovered inadvertently here. That Coronation Street has got this kind of justice boner for every crime except sexual ones.
But sometimes, though, a lot of the time,
abuse.
Those type of stories do get...
Anything to do with relationships or sexual abuse or rape or coercion or anything, they're like, well, he can say... And
not
that's kind
always.
Of...
Look at Josh, he ended up in prison after doing that with David.
Think about Theo didn't get justice, he died. We've spoken about Tim's dad, Jeff, didn't get justice, he died. You've got Megan, we're not sure what's going to happen to her. You've got Trisha, he's got...
Frank Foster.
They don't really get in trouble. They just get killed or something. Whereas...
What about Nathan Curtis?
Yeah.
He ended up behind bars.
I didn't say that every single time, every person. I'm saying that there's a bit more of wiggle room. And, you can be cynical and say, oh, there's some kind of evil plan at work or somebody's doing this on purpose. But you could also say that it's a pretty good reflection of society where it's really difficult to get somebody brought to justice for this kind of stuff. And
because those were the stats that they were trotting out during the Amy and Aaron storyline, weren't they?
Like, what can you do about it? Like, don't get mad at like the story, get mad at the reality of the situation.
Yeah.
But equally, you don't want to live in a world where people have been accused of things they didn't do.
I think with what you remembered about what was on Trisha's Facebook definitely shows that it might not be too difficult to find evidence should they go down the route of getting her sent down. But honestly, I was just happy with the closure that Tim got from this scene with Trisha, which again, I thought was a really good scene. And then when he goes back home and he says, "Oh, Sally, I'm really glad that you've had my back." And they didn't go down the route because they could have had Sally
Sally's not gloating.
"I told you so." Sally doesn't gloat. They just have a nice old hug. And yeah, that could be a suitable dropping off point for this, with the potential of do they revisit it or not in the future. I don't know.
Yeah, and Tim's like I believe everything he said to Will, where he's like, at the time, I thought it was great, and now I look back on it and I don't feel the same way. And I feel as though he's kind of closing the book.
Yeah.
Like that.
Without spiralling into some kind of depression or
And I did
PTSD.
who knows what they're going to do with his character. I don't know. But like Trisha, that was really interesting. I thought that was great, actually, because she was like, no, I didn't do anything wrong. And I think that is exactly what she would be like.
Oh, totally. And she wasn't like, haha, yes, we did. And she didn't start to twirl her moustache or anything, did she? She was like, no. I thought that was a very, very realistic reaction. If she does have a string of other victims still, maybe that is a bit of a villainous thing to say. But if Tim was her one and only, we don't know at the moment, that was 100% a realistic reaction.
But what would you do if you realised, like, oh, what I did was actually wrong?
Yeah, I mean...
Because lots of things turn out to be wrong that you did in the past because everyone was doing it and it was fine. And then, 20 years later, you're like, oh, that wasn't actually right in the end, was it? What do you do then?
But what do you want? Do you want Trisha to go and hand herself in, having come to some deep revelation?
Do you not think it would have been a kind of interesting conversation for Trisha to say, yeah, and what? Sorry, what now? What do we do now? I don't know, what do we do now? What do you want?
Yeah,
I don't think Tim could have answered. I think he just wanted her to admit.
Yeah, exactly. He wanted to be able to tell her.
That's true.
It's like
doesn't matter what you say.
It's like the restorative justice, isn't it? Just not police facilitated.
Just listen to what I'm saying because you did this to me, and now I want you to hear it.
Yeah, and
it doesn't matter what you say or do.
A bit like Maggie with the weight lifted off her head when she confesses about what happened with Alan. I think that he's maybe unknowingly been holding on to this for a long time. And now it's been a burden that's been released for him, and he seemed pretty happy by the end of Wednesday's app.
But what if it is this kind of like fan theory is true
about the baby,
that there is a child who is now an old man, not an old man, but or a woman who could have grandkids.
Well, yeah, he's got grandkids with Miley, hasn't he? But
ones that he actually gets to see. If this person is 30, 40. 35 probably. I'm just going
to Google how old Tim is. Because I know how old Sally is.
This is going to be a whole bundle of a whole, we're saying, oh, this is, a realistic and satisfying end to this story about Tim realising that he had been abused as a child by this woman. Yeah, so
Tim was born in 1972, so he's 44 at the moment?
No, 50.
Sorry, I mean 53, 54, because he's 10 years older than us.
So the kid
would be 30.
Yeah. So the kid could have a kid.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But what I'm saying is, we're going, oh, this is very neat. It's satisfying. It feels realistic. It doesn't feel like contrived, or, she didn't cry and get arrested, and he didn't. It felt like he got what he wanted, and he told Sally that he was happy with it, and it feels like he's closed the book. But then if it turns out that she's got a kid, it's going to open it all back up again. Yeah. And then
he's going to say, I've missed the first 30 years of your life.
What are you going to do if your mum, it turns out your mum was a paedophile, and that's why you exist in the world? What are you going to do then?
Yeah. There was that scene with Trisha in the bistro with the boy who she claimed was her nephew, wasn't there?
Oh, is that maybe his son?
That could be his grandson.
No, that could be Tim's. How old was this kid?
He was a teenager, wasn't he? That wasn't his son. He wasn't 30.
Wow. We could have already met Tim's secret grandson.
I just don't... I feel
it was suspicious at the time, wasn't it? It was super suspicious.
Sally was suspicious because she was saying...
She thought it was another victim.
Yeah.
But that would be a great twist.
Maybe, but to be honest, I think I've had my fill
Me too.
of here's a secret family member that I never knew
Secret
existed.
family members are boring now.
Well, we did the whole Patreon episode on suddenly appearing family members.
And I don't need Sally and Tim to have new children in their life when they haven't finished with the ones they've already got.
Yeah. Yeah, as we said, and they secretly live on the street is the well that the tabloids always go to.
And the other thing,
and then the fact that there is a bit of a trope means that Corrie is doing it a bit too much.
The other thing also is that if they're gonna get any doorstop babies like a la Connor Swain's, I'd rather they were Rosie and Sophie's kids than some random.
Yeah. They make their speaking of which, they're still using that Detective Sergeant Connor Swain. They're getting into the dialogue, aren't they, this week? And it does feel like a bit of a mouthful, I'm not going to lie. What can you do? Okay, so that was that. We're still not done talking about Will yet, because he is it's the second fiddle in this hallucinations storyline. Sam. Oh, I love Sam so much. Gemma, remind us what's been going on with this little kid this week.
Before we get onto it, I just want to say, we said, I don't like the idea of it, it's going to be boring, blah, blah, blah. We always take anything as it comes. When a storyline comes, even if we're not liking it or whatever, we always give it a fair shake, don't we?
Oh, gosh, yeah, absolutely.
And I've changed my mind many times on whether I'm not like, the only thing I'm committed to hating is Tim.
Yeah.
So, I'm open-minded, but I'm not looking forward to it. And I'm just going to say also, I didn't actually read any. Did I read any detail? I think I read some brief outlines, and I don't want to put anybody off, and I don't want to be a downer, but I read a few very brief, outlines, concepts. Kate Brooks reveals Summer and Corrie, and I went,
oh yeah.
I'm tired.
I also read.
I don't like any.
I didn't want to read in detail about what Kate revealed about the summer stories, but there wasn't anything there that really, really grabbed me.
No, it didn't feel inspiring to me at all.
Yeah, this story has proven that initial reactions and suspicions about how a story's going to go down can be very, very wrong.
Yeah.
But then equally, on the other hand, you got when we heard about Kevin's cancer storyline, we're like, oh great, that's not going to be good, and it wasn't particularly. No, it was still a bit dull.
I'm perfectly capable of being overwhelmed, underwhelmed.
Yeah, any kind of whelmed.
Yeah.
But enough of whelmed. On to
Wilmed. On Monday, Sam and Hope. He invites her to a meteor shower, and she don't bring alcohol.
Oh, that was funny. She wants to bring booze, doesn't she? And then he's like, no. So I want him to be teetotal like me.
No, because that's just waving a red rag at a bull for Coronation Street.
Well, he can just decide not. Young people don't drink as much alcohol these days, do they?
That's true. Those
Sam
Gen Zs
can fly that flag as a proud Gen Zer.
No,
yeah.
They're all just vaping and getting popcorn now.
Hope is such a cow, isn't she?
No, she's great.
Because she's saying, "Okay, I'll come." Really, says Sam. No, not really. Like, why is he hanging around with this girl? She's so mean.
She's a pickup artist, is what she is. She's just good at negging him.
Oh, poor Sam.
She could write a book about how to pick up teenage boys at this point. Just tell them you don't want to go to a meteor shower.
I don't necessarily feel that they're always being consistent with Hope when it comes to Sam, because they used to kind of hold hands together for quite a spell, didn't they?
Yeah, but they change all the time.
I know. Sometimes she seems like she's got his back, and other times she's being horrible. And sometimes I'm thinking, is she mates with him but just kind of ripping,
No, listen, I think she's there when she needs to be.
Yeah.
And I think it's a very common thing when you're a kid to be rude and put someone down to make yourself feel cool.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I still do it now.
So all the time.
Yeah, it's another hallucination.
Hallucination. He comes striding down the one corridor at that school with him. They come thick and fast this week, don't they?
Yeah, he gets another one when he's like, oh, I've got this nuclear power station for kids set. I hope it doesn't fall and cause a meltdown. If I drop this... No, it's a very expensive telescope. And fake Will chases him, and he drops his telescope. It smashes on the floor.
I want to know what the props Did the prop department make that, or was it an actual telescope that just looks expensive and actually cheap as anything? Because they certainly weren't dropping any £100 telescopes on the floor there and smashing them on the cobbles, were they?
I heard that Hackety Dog showed everybody how to make a very convincing looking telescope out of toilet rolls.
Oh yeah, now he's a Blue Peter presenter.
Yeah. Do you think they let him do any? Do they still do that kind of stuff? From number one and number two, if Hackety Dog did it, would he not glue his fur to things?
Yeah, quite possibly. I think he's more of a presenter / interviewer. I'm imagining. Phil will know. He can tell us. Will comes down the street, doesn't he? And while all of this is going on, we kind of get the impression that he's in the Rovers as well, don't we?
They're leaning into this the ambiguity, because we were like, oh, hang on, has he got the same clothes on? He did have the same clothes. And it's very interesting to me that Sam knows what people are wearing when he hasn't actually seen them wearing it.
Yeah, I know. That doesn't really make much sense.
It'd be too obvious if they were wearing something different.
But the problem is, it was already really obvious. And I thought it was so funny how was it Wednesday when Sam is finally revealed when he's doing his boxing out by the bins, when he thinks he's laying into Will, Coronation Street social media was, hey, you never saw this coming, did you? The twist that nobody thought would happen. And all the replies to it was, yeah. But I thought it was like...
What do you mean, yeah?
Yeah, we all saw it happening. I didn't realise that Corrie were trying to keep it a secret, because it was
You must have known.
Honestly, the first time he got that phone call, it was so obviously not Will. I thought Coronation Street wanted us to...
I think if you listen back to us, we weren't sure. It was me that first said it. I'm the one that looked it up and saw that it's a side effect of the PTSD. The ADHD medication. Would you have even thought about that? And if I hadn't said...
Yes, I think I know I would. The scenes ever since that phone call with Will being intimidated by Sam, they all just had this really uncanny...
the other way around.
So, Will intimidating Sam, they all just had this uncanny kind of vibe to them. Will was just kind of striding past, glaring, saying these things. There was never any real interaction going on.
I would not blame somebody who hadn't noticed that these were fake. Because I don't think it was obvious.
Well, clearly
and I
not.
And
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying, "Oh, you idiot!" If you didn't see it, I'm not saying that at all. But
I think it's a shame that we all guessed.
I thought that Coronation Street before this week had made it obvious enough.
I think you're giving yourself a lot of credit. I do. I'm sure there are people that didn't know.
I know.
And they had a better time than we did because they were surprised. I'd rather have been surprised.
I would rather have been surprised, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Some of our listeners, I'm sure.
No, because we've been saying it.
We've been saying it, but I know that there were some people on our Facebook group that posted afterwards. What, are we supposed to think they were hallucinations? I had never idea. So I'm sorry if we spoiled it.
Outing themselves as not having listened to the podcast.
Sorry if we spoiled it there, but yeah, I did think it was just quite funny how Corrie were crowing about this was a twist that nobody saw coming.
Well, what are they supposed to do? Put up a post that says, sorry, you guessed it already?
Yeah, exactly. That's what they should have done. Admit it.
I bet you most people that don't spend as much time as we do talking about it and theorising about it did not know. Ask your dad.
It makes me wonder whether they had kind of even like suspected, this thing not right here, even if they hadn't gone down this is clearly psychosis caused by
I think it's become more and more obvious.
ADHD medicine.
There've been more obvious clues and things that don't really make sense.
Yeah, but it was midway through this week where
it was revealed.
It was, yeah.
So, the fake Will says, "When I get my hands on you, you're dead." Then on Tuesday,
which is still the same day, isn't it? It's late on a Monday.
Yeah, that's right. Leanne finds them with the broken telescope, and he's upset about it. They talk to him about Will at the airport and everything, and that he's kind of Megan's in trouble and stuff.
What I don't think they had, if I remember rightly, was any scenes where Sam thinks he sees Will, but then it's like, hang on a minute, I thought you were in Scotland, in France, on the train or anything like that. Every time that he saw Will, he hallucinated Will could have been there.
Yeah.
Up until this point.
Sam and Hope are at speed dial later, and he's like, "How did I see him if he was not there?
Yeah.
He was going to the airport. So how did I see him?
Yeah, he was getting ready to go.
And Hope's like, idiot.
Yeah, basically.
Wednesday, he's still discombobulated. Did you mean to write this?
No, I didn't.
Michael's written that Sam wasn't full of the oysters of spring.
No, I think that's an autocorrect.
I love that though. I
phrase,
too don't feel like I'm full of the oysters of spring. Yeah, they're trying to get him.
Part of the dialogue.
Maybe it is.
I don't remember.
Nick and Toyah take him to the bus stop, and Hope joins him and tells them about Will being questioned by the cops. And he zones out and then says, "I'm not interested in that. Leave me alone." And puts his headphones on.
Yeah, this is because he's kind of starting to think maybe
something's wrong.
Yeah.
At school, Sam and Hope see the police chatting with another pupil and a member of staff, and she's like, "Oh, you're probably going to get questioned about this, you know. You're going to get taken to court and you're going to have to testify against Megan. You might even have to be the one to put her away." And Sam is just terrified by this concept.
But Hope here, I don't think, is necessarily trying to terrify him. She's being more... She's not like trying to make him say, "Ha."
Well, she's probably like, "That's brilliant. I'd love to do that."
Yeah, exactly.
Did I say that she was?
No.
Okay.
No, we've been talking before about how Hope had been a bit of a cow to Sam.
I don't think she's a cow. I just think that she's... Hope is out for Hope. What she says is not supposed to upset you or, you know, make you happy. She just says what she wants to say and take it or leave it. She doesn't really care whether you like it or not.
We never found out whether that poem was AI or not, did we?
No, she's being maligned.
Got away with that one.
So Toyah finds Sam in the bistro and he's got his headphones on. He's trying to do work and she just asks him what he's up to, and he gets really snappy and says, "Leave me alone. Why is it so hard for everyone to understand?" Then he goes down the street and he has another hallucination of Will, who's saying, "I want to work with you, come here." Starts chasing him, runs down to where the bins are, going, "This is all your fault." And then Sam's like, "Leave me alone," and starts trying to fight him. And then
he stands up to him, doesn't he? Like, grabs him by the collar. So he's literally, even though this person isn't there, he can kind of feel him. I think this is the first time that any physical contact had been made between Sam and Will in one of these hallucinations.
Maybe.
Did he?
Maybe.
Did he? Okay.
So anyway, this is when we're, our suspicions are whatever it is
validated.
Because we actually see Sam fighting himself.
Well, for now he's
just punching nothing.
Yeah, I was thinking that maybe when the camera kind of panned up and we saw that, we'd cut to somebody who'd seen him doing it, and
it's just us.
At the moment, I mean, it strings the story on for longer, and it looks like they're definitely going in for the long haul here by nobody else knowing.
This is the thing.
There seems to be lots of signs that he's a bit screwed up.
He hasn't worked it out yet, though. Really. He knows something's wrong, but he doesn't really know. And he doesn't know, like, just because he knows one time was hallucination doesn't mean he knows all the other times were hallucinations. So what's gonna happen? Like, how this would make you even more crazy, because once you know you're having hallucinations, how could you ever trust any conversation you have with anybody?
Well, yeah, and this is the thing. At this point, it's only Will, isn't it? But by the time Thursday and Friday comes around, he's hallucinating about all sorts of people.
But he may have hallucinated something else that we haven't noticed, somebody else, but I don't think so. Because once they've established now Coronation Street that he's hallucinating, then they can start to introduce new aspects of his psychosis.
Yeah,
which would be new people.
I was doing a little bit of online research about this. No, did I? Oh no, I ChatGPT'd it. I explained the storyline to ChatGPT and said, "Is this realistic?" Because I'm still...
Why would it...
Some of what I'm watching, I'm thinking, is that what hallucinations are really like? Can you feel like you're beating them up? Do they seem so full and fleshed out? Or are hallucinations more just a case of you might have mishear what somebody says, or you see something out of the corner of your eye kind of thing? And according to the authority that is ChatGPT, yes, the visions of Will can really feel... in real life, it can feel like somebody is physically there.
Yes.
Which is interesting to me because, I just can't picture it. And I'm not denying it, but it feels so odd.
This is why I really enjoy doing my A-level in psychology, and I know that it's only an A-level, but my favourite part of it was abnormal psychology, because I just find it absolutely fascinating. And I think I've watched videos of online people posting, this is me going through an episode of hallucinations, and I recorded it because I didn't know if the people were there or not.
Yeah. Well, ChatGPT also said,
stop being such a simp for
sorry,
AI.
I know.
People won't like that. You've already said you're watching Eurovision, and now you're talking about AI.
I know, but they said that it seems like they're maybe heightening it somewhat for dramatic effect.
Wow, I can't believe they would do that.
I should have said they put music over the top of it as well, don't they? That's what they don't need that. They don't need that. Every time there's something weird happens, that goes ooh.
I definitely have had auditory hallucinations when I was really tired, but it was birds singing.
Yeah, because that's how it started off with the phone call, didn't it? But even that was weird, because who was that was phoning up Leanne's phone?
But he hallucinated the whole thing. He didn't hallucinate. It wasn't like somebody on the other end going, hello, I just want to phone you up to see if you want to answer a few questions about whether you think Keir Starmer should resign. It was just him picking up Leanne's phone. And who knows if he even picked the phone up now.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm glad that it finally all came out on Wednesday. I wasn't so keen on the Thursday hallucinations involving Nick and Toyah. Although I suppose it was a soft...
Fridays was the best.
Fridays could have happened without Thursdays, but Thursday's hallucinations kind of paved the way exactly for no, it's going to get worse than this.
So on Thursday, Sam's got his exam, right? His maths exam, and he's really upset. But when he comes back, it seems like he's gone well. I think he's hallucinated that.
Do you think?
Yeah. He's pretty happy about it, and he says he's going to say sorry to Toyah later for being a cow to her. Turns around.
These can't be cows.
Yes, they can. I'm gender neutraling all of the slurs. I've done that with bitch. I'm doing it with cow.
Okay.
So he turns around. Will's there, going, "You're pathetic.
Oh yeah,
I'm coming for you."
In the flat, this is, isn't he? And he's like, "How did you get in?"
And he walks out, and Leanne comes in, and he's like, "Did you hear the door? Did you hear the door?" And she's like, "No, it's probably just the wind."
This is why I'm thinking he knows. He knows that something's not right here.
This is a confession from Leanne that she farts like a door slamming.
Not that kind of wind.
He's suspicious of something.
Yeah, he
knows something's wrong.
Logically, he knows that Will couldn't possibly... Well, he could have been there, but he wasn't there.
But don't forget that these hallucinations aren't in isolation, right? It's because of a symptom of his brain chemistry being thrown off by these drugs that he shouldn't have taken. And, even if you do have them and you're being prescribed them and you're taking them as indicated, it still might happen to you. But it's even worse if you're just doing, dosing up whatever you want willy-nilly and you don't actually have ADHD. So it's not just hallucinations, it's the whole thing's off balance, and he's paranoid anyway, and he doesn't really know what's going on.
Does he...
So it's not like you and I just having hallucinations and being in our right mind. It's just a complete, loss of reality.
I can't remember where we got to with, is he still taking these pills?
I don't know. That wizard's got a lot to answer.
I can't remember whether... Did he tell anybody that he was taking them?
Yeah, they found out.
Did they find out when he was in hospital? So...
They never said anything to them, watch out, see if he starts
surely
seeing
he's not
things.
Still taking them.
And no, it doesn't matter,
but how long do these side effects last? Or does it screw you up so much that even once the medication's stopped, you're still suffering the symptoms and the psychosis?
I don't know.
I guess Coronation Street says... Yes, it can happen. Just have to believe it.
I've got a year left of my PhD, and then I'll tell you. So, Toyah brings Sam some food into the office in the bistro later, and Nick comes in and says, Megan's pleading not guilty, so the case is going to go to trial, and you're going to be called as a witness, but you don't have to do it if you don't want to, okay? And Sam just puts his headphones on and kind of ignores it.
Yeah, that's his kind of comfort place, isn't it? It's blocking out the real world with listening to Conversation Street's Sam profile.
He's like, oh yeah, I remember.
I think when that happened.
My mum died.
Do you think that we will get to see Sam testifying against Megan? Because he's got, I know he's no hard evidence, but he's got he can say about when she was intimidating him. He can say when she was confessing it to him. It's all he said, she said. But but Eva can also say that Megan kind of crowed at her about it. Is that going to be enough?
Yeah, I was going to say, I said that earlier, she's keeping herself pretty good on not admitting it, but she admitted it to Sam and Eva. If I was Eva, I'd be a bit put out that she's putting me on the same level as a child.
Yeah. I really...
Like, no one's going to believe Eva.
Exactly. I really hope that we get to see Sam in court. Just because I know that Jude will do an amazing job with it.
But also, is he not going to be cross-examined by Adam Barlow, who lives down the road from him?
Yeah. Yeah. I think, he could crumble.
Well, don't forget also that he had this fear of Daniel, who is Adam's uncle. Like, he's going to think this is a big conspiracy.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'd like him to be able to do his bit in getting Megan sent down, but
maybe this will be part of the whole reason she gets off. Maybe she'll get off because this is their star
unreliable witness,
and he's having hallucinations.
Yeah, I would be shocked if that isn't part of it, to be honest.
If it gets found out that he's got hallucinations before he goes to trial, then that will be brought up. But I think it's far more likely that he's going to have a spectacular breakdown when he's standing in the witness box.
I agree. I can totally... I mean, maybe that is when it all comes out, because he will be publicly hallucinating something, talking to somebody who's not there, or answering a question that hasn't been asked to him.
Oh my goodness me.
Just
that
imagine
would be quite
that.
Spectacular.
That would... The ultimate public, revelation that you're going crazy, you're having these mega mental health crises. Poor Sam. That certainly...
Very dramatic.
Is not beyond the realms of possibility.
Well, we're going to have to wait to see, because at the moment, he's just hearing Will's voice in his headphones.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. He did, didn't he? Yeah. I think that was one of the... Yeah, that and also what he sees on the CCTV. I didn't really... it's really difficult to buy that.
So Sam then logs into the CCTV of the bistro, and he's watching Toyah and Nick in the kitchen, and it's a good job that they weren't using it like Michelle used to, because he would have had to have taken them to court. But they're talking about supporting local wine sellers, but actually he's hearing them saying that Sam's lying, and Sam says to himself, "I'm on my own."
Yeah, I didn't like that, him talking to himself at the end. It didn't hit for me, but I forget all that and forgive it, because Friday's episode was absolutely bloody brilliant, wasn't it? And I bet, and I know, there'll be people that have said it's stupid.
David Nielsen.
I'm glad I'm not one of them.
Did an incredible job, but let's get to it.
Okay.
So
they both did.
Roy's in the corner shop fondling Dev's eggs when Toyah and Nick comes in.
Even that was a funny scene. That was a proper classic Corrie silly little exchange between characters, wasn't there? I can't remember what Dev was saying, but he was
He's like, eggs are eggs.
Yeah, eggs is eggs, Roy.
And then he, at one point he makes a joke, and then he goes, "Ha ha."
Yeah, he does. Yeah, that little
him.
exchange about, I don't think I need to worry about the local farmers for my own sustenance. It was funny.
Toyah and Nick come in and say, "Hey, Sam's feeling down. Could you pop in on him every now and then?" And he says, "Yeah, I'll come in. We'll have a game of chess with him later on." Roy arrives at the bistro and comes and sits with Sam. And Sam's like, "Look at this, I found a tracker in my bag. Who could have done that? How mysterious," says Roy. And then they get out the chess set.
I love that Roy was saying, I hardly think that Will is doing some secret spying operation, and he was really quite surprised to hear that trackers are just
anyone
a thing.
Can have one.
Anyone can have one. Maggie can plant one on Will. Maria had a tracker storyline recently as well, didn't she? Obviously, we got Theo tracking Todd. It's quite the thing in Weatherfield to spy on each other. So
it's embracing new technology.
I know. Roy's like, "Can I put one on a bat?"
I need to phone someone up.
Yeah.
I'll be back in a minute. So Roy sets up the board, and Sam is swinging in this squeaky chair. And then we get a history lesson about controversies in chess games.
I loved that little exchange from Roy, and just this knowledge about there was one about the squeaky chair, and what was the other one?
Was it the one about the scandal with the guy who put that thing up his bum that buzzed when he should move the chess pieces a certain way?
I don't think it was that one.
Oh.
It was the other chair-based controversy about somebody who wanted a particular chair and they had it flown in.
Yeah.
I just love
that. Yeah, that was
that.
more appropriate for children now I think about it.
Roy and Sam are just the most perfect double act. And we were saying about this in the profile.
We were.
And little did we know that we were only a few days away from
enjoyed that.
Some of their best scenes together ever.
Available on YouTube and also as a audio download. So...
Or stream it, as the kids do these days.
So Builder phones Roy up and he's like, I've got to go and do something to make my... fire-gutted cafe look exactly the same as it did before.
Yeah.
Sam is staring at the board when Roy comes back.
It's funny at first because you just hear his voice for the first few lines, and I don't even think I picked on it. Looking back on it, it was obvious, but you said, Roy doesn't sound right. David Nielsen put on a different voice for Roy, and if you didn't hear it the first time, go back and watch it again because it's really worth going back and seeing how he captures this kind of subversive, kind of maniacal... He's just like sinister Roy, isn't he?
Like Roy, who's this stirrer, who's this like... He's like the devil on Sam's shoulder.
Yeah, he is. I want to Photoshop that.
So he's like talking in this... It's raspy. It's more raspy than Roy. And when he moves his mouth, it's kind of in this evil smirk. And it becomes more obvious the longer this goes on, because in the last scene where he's on the bench with Sam, he's definitely really transformed into this kind of devil.
Well, he does, and he puts his arm round Sam, doesn't he?
It's like Roy doesn't care about anyone enough to put his arm.
It just was very, very Jimmy Savile-ish, wasn't it? Putting his arm round.
It wasn't predatory. It was. No, it didn't feel like Sam was the victim. It felt like he was being recruited for some evil malevolence.
Okay, it was a little bit like the devil tempting Jesus and they're saying, jump off this cliff. It
wasn't like, let's go in the bushes.
No, I know, but it was an evil.
That was a different Bible.
It was an evil hug.
Yeah, I know.
It was just the performance. Like, we've never seen David Nielsen perform as anyone other than Roy. And I know he did that stage play. We talked about this earlier with Chris Gascoigne a decade or so ago. I don't remember.
I know. I wish we'd seen it.
And this was David playing someone who
character.
But it was still Roy. It wasn't. Yeah, and that's the thing. He so magnificently was able to be Roy, but not quite Roy. It wasn't. It wasn't someone completely different.
I bet he loved doing this.
It was just like a parallel universe, Roy.
Yeah.
Just slightly something off, and that uncanniness is what made it extra creepy. The fact that it was nearly Roy.
Yeah.
It was great.
The unheimlich.
It was very unheimlich.
So, Roy, as we said, Roy's there, and he's talking over the chess game and saying, what's going on. And
he said you've been seeming really unsettled recently.
You seem really anxious. Like, I never lived up to my parents' expectations because I saw everything differently, and I think maybe that's like you. Like, you might feel insecure because you suddenly appeared and imposed yourself on Nick, and he never really asked for this.
Yeah.
And this is really interesting because at first it's quite plausible that he should be saying this, and also you're on the back foot because this is only the second time you would have seen Sam have a different hallucination.
Right.
I kind of wish they hadn't have had Nick and Toyah, because this would have been even more unsettling.
Yeah, I didn't notice straight away, but as the conversation goes on, you're right. It was very plausible that he could have just been being a bit, I don't know how to talk to people, but Roy does know how to talk to people. The thing about Roy
is that he definitely this could have felt like a kind of wise, a wise observation from Roy, who can sometimes be very insightful. And he kind of cut completely to the heart of the matter.
Yes.
But what it did, because Sam wasn't in... This is a manifestation of Sam's anxiety.
He knows. This proves the fact that hallucinatory Roy was saying, you've been unsettled recently, what's wrong with you, is kind of a way of saying, well, Sam understands that there's something wrong with him at the moment.
Do you know that one time, and I think this is true, but I'm not sure, and I don't care if it isn't true, there was a woman who suddenly hallucinated a voice in her head who kept saying, you've got a brain tumour, you need to go and get it sorted out. You've got a brain tumour, you need to go and get it sorted out. and she kept hearing it. It could have been a man, actually. I can't remember. Went to the hospital. They scanned her brain. She had a brain tumour. She got it cut out, and the voices stopped.
Wow, that's creepy.
That is creepy. And you also know
that's an Outer Limits episode there. That's a Twilight Zone.
In Western societies and cultures, when somebody has schizophrenia or hears voices, they're almost always negative. And they're saying, everyone hates you. Nobody likes you. They're watching you. Be careful. Someone's coming to get you. Hide. Apparently, in Indian cultures, they're like really positive and like gas you up.
That's funny.
I think that's true. I'm not sure.
I'm just thinking about that character in The Boys with the face on the back of her head.
Oh, yeah.
Anyone else watching the finale of The Boys next
week?
Well,
I hope you've seen that bit, because otherwise that's a spoiler.
Oh, she's had
that for somebody's got a head.
Somebody's.
It's not. It wouldn't be surprising to have a superhero whose power was they had a face on the back of their head.
Not the most common superhero.
We've all seen.
We've all seen The Adventures of Face on the Back of the Head Man.
I was going to say, we've all seen the first Harry Potter film.
Oh, yes. It is quite Voldemorty, isn't it? Anyway, where were we with this?
So he's saying, oh, don't, you're imposing yourself on Nick. Yeah. Evil Roy.
I thought it was interesting as well. I wonder how much Sam actually knows about Roy's upbringing, because what he was saying about what was going on with Sylvia and St. John and how that they... Yeah. It's along the same lines as how does he know what clothes Will's wearing, but
don't worry about it.
Sam has been a friend of Roy's for 4 years now. This could have come up during a chess game, so it's not completely beyond the realms of possibility.
I know, it's also not like a super shocker that somebody who's a bit socially awkward might have a sad, background with a maladjusted parent, or that a soap character's got a secret back history with their family.
And the moment that was fantastic on this was because it was like, is this really Roy? Is this not? Because it could have been. And then we don't see him come in. We see him just kind of adjusting himself as if he's just sat down.
And he's out of breath.
Yeah.
And then he says, look, should we get on with it? And then he makes a comment about having been to the builders, which kind of would be out of nowhere if he'd been there the whole time. Great.
Out of all of the scenes so far, this is the one that makes us as viewers kind of doubt what's going on.
I love this. I'm so happy they did this. I know some people will hate this, but this was such a great episode for me. I love this.
I want to know, like,
this scene and the one on the bench.
And how long are they going to keep it going?
Just keep it going. I want Evil Roy. If they get rid of Evil Roy, I'm going to start taking Ritalin to see if I can conjure him up for myself. Yes.
But I wonder whether the longer it goes, the sillier it will be.
I don't care.
Like, is Sam going to be standing up there in court and Evil Roy's going to be behind him?
Yes, tell them Megan molested you as well.
And almost like having a little bit of something and it being brilliant is better than it overstaying its welcome.
That's true.
But it certainly seems by the end of this episode they are setting it up as is Evil Roy? Oh, we need a name for him, but I can't. Woy.
Yeah, like Wario.
We need a name for him because Evil Roy doesn't fit right, but it'll do for now. Sorry, go on. What happened next?
I'm trying to think of an evil letter to go at the front of Roy, like Zoe, but that's just silly. Everyone knows that Z is an evil letter. An X also, like Zoe. Yeah. That just sounds like you just got hit on the head. Zoe.
Roy.
So
it's such a short. You can't do much. You got 3 letters, so you can only make so many variations of a name that's got 3 letters.
Royd.
I don't know. Go on, carry on.
Void. I don't know. You think about it. I'll carry on reading. Okay. So, as we said, start the game. So, Roy says thank you for... Yeah.
So this is actual Roy at this point, isn't it?
He sits down and settles himself. And then Sam says, thank you for speaking to me like this. And Roy's like, well, sorry, I got called away by the builder. Let's get on with it. And that's when you know.
Yeah.
Roy leaves later and tells Nick and Toyah that Sam was very agitated during the game. And he thinks that somebody put a tracker in his bag. And Nick's like, yeah, my bad. I didn't realise that would make him worse. And Toyah says, just tell him that it was me, that it was Nick. I also thought it was funny having... I thought he was going to say this, but he didn't. Based on what we said previously about when Roy started playing chess with Sam and he would never let him win.
Yes.
I thought he was going to say... Yeah, he seemed really agitated and I still didn't let him win. But anyway, what What did you just find something?
Oh yeah, I was just chat GPTing some names for evil Roy. It didn't do it very good. Malroy.
No, we've had that already.
Void Cropper, Razor Roy.
No, Razor Roy Ramon.
I didn't even say Roy Cropper, but ChatGPT knows me too well.
It knows what you're talking
exactly
about.
what I'm going for. Noir Roy, Destroy.
Michael, if you use ChatGPT...
The Croppinator.
That sounds like somebody that dust crops you. If you keep using ChatGPT, you're going to train it on Coronation Street, and then it's going to take over the world, but make us play out soap operas.
Nice. I mean, Malroy is a thing, isn't it?
No, what does that mean?
It's a commune in the Moselle department of Grand Est.
Why did you make
France,
out like
apparently.
you knew that was a commune? You don't know.
No, I didn't. I thought it was something else, but...
Shall we move on?
Yes.
So
I'm going to call him Malroy from now. Maybe it's because it's like Mallory. Maybe that's what I was thinking of.
Like a duck.
No. Mallory Towers.
Mallory Towers, I loved that so much. That was one of my favourite books.
People want us to move on.
Roy and Sam are on the bench
Fake Roy. Victoria. It was Martin's bench. It was in Victoria Gardens.
Yes, I know it was. I was just going to get to that. And they're talking about how everyone's got it out for them. And this is when you must know that Roy's not real. He's saying, people feel threatened by me because I'm so different, but you've got to use brute force if you need. Like, your enemies will do everything they can to thwart your ambitions.
He's basically...
Because I'm still here. Because I identify my foes and I take preemptive action.
It's like he's been secretly hiding that he's a stealth agent
villain.
All these years.
He's a super villain. And he's like, you know what?
No, he's not saying I'm villainous. He's just saying I am... I've got to look after myself because nobody else is going to. So I put on this front. But actually, I've got their number. Which isn't, a million miles away from Roy. Because I think he does understand people more than some people might give him credit for. Yeah.
But it's funny because he's talking like in this grand kind of like superior way about creating a cafe. And like, they tried to make me pay an extra 2 pence per bat, but I said no. And then I got the egg seller to give me 13 in a dozen instead of 12. Like, okay, what have you used this evil power for, Roy? Because it's not evident from what I'm looking at now. So anyway, he's like, I want to help you face down the bullies. You shouldn't trust anybody. You're vulnerable and not safe. You've got to be guided by me.
And this is when he's like got his arm round him, hasn't he? He's like,
he's like, I'm gonna guide you. I walk this treacherous path before you. You've got to fly in the face of your gentle nature. Are you prepared to follow my instructions to the letter? And Sam's like, yes, but I don't have any choice. But then we see Roy's not there.
It's just talking to himself.
It was just an evil figment of his imagination.
The thing about this going forwards that does Sam realise? Does he know? And is he going to go to the cafe the next day and say, hey, Roy, remember what you were talking to me about on the bench the other day about how I've got to, disarm people and all that? And Roy's like, what are you talking about? That's the problem here, isn't it?
Yeah, I know.
Sam could very easily find out that this isn't true.
There's going to be some kind of like incongruence between what he thinks has been said and what the person is like, actually, I didn't say that at all.
Yeah.
But then... if Roy is sort of like saying to him that we're being sneaky and secret, then it may very well be that he thinks he's in on some kind of that's part of Roy's plan somehow. I don't know.
I don't know, but
the
I'm
thing
so
is,
intrigued to find out.
We're saying that maybe this is all going to come out during the trial, but this is really not leading up to that. This is leading up to something else because this is very sinister that Roy is saying.
What is Roy? What is Malroy going to tell Sam to do?
What's the plan that he's got? What's this instructions that he's going to give Sam to carry out? I love this. And also as well,
Roy made me do it.
This is a manifestation. If this is a manifestation of like something that's deep within Sam, is Sam also very, very... Because this is fictional.
Yeah, this is true.
This is fictional. This is not based on... You can't base this on any kind of real... Nobody's suggesting that if you take too much Ritalin, you're going to end up seeing an evil version of Roy Cropper on a bench and then start doing evil things. You've got to divorce... This can't be an issue storyline because it's got a bit... I don't
know. It has gone a bit bonkers.
But what I'm saying is, I'm not trying to...
It's probably too bonkers.
But... The issue is that you don't want to stigmatise people with real mental health issues. That's the real this is a real danger that you're going to do that. But like as a fictional situation where he's kind of like this like devil that's been manifested through pharmaceuticals, it's very interesting.
I can't think of a better character for them to have done this with Roy, because they recognise,
and Sam
and Sam, because they're both very similar in lots of ways, and Sam has recognised that he's similar to Roy, that people don't understand him. That there was something that he said earlier that Mal Roy said. I'm calling him that now.
I think we should now.
We're
it's like, I think it's because it sounds like Leroy.
Yeah, maybe.
Mal Roy.
Like the world doesn't understand us, or we see the world differently, I think. And that's something that Sam has latched onto with Roy all these years. He sees this kinship.
Yeah. I mean, again, if you have a mental...
What a great opportunity for David Nielsen after 30 years of playing Roy. And I know Roy has kind of changed a bit over the years.
An amazing opportunity to explore a character in a completely different way. Because I know that he really cares about the craft of acting, because he was and he's, you know, when he's making fun of everybody for not being as good at acting as when he won that prize, it was a joke. But he obviously has a passion, and it can be constraining.
I'd love to know what he thinks, because
I hope he loves this.
I hope he loves it. He could.
I can't imagine anything else.
I'd hate to think that David Nielsen gets the script and go, what on earth is this? This isn't the Coronation Street I joined 30 years ago. Me being an evil version of Roy. No, he
seems like he's game.
Yeah, that's exactly. I would really hope to think
that he relishes the opportunity.
Yeah,
I hope so.
To do something a little bit different.
But like in real life,
because he's a bit of I think he's like a bit of a prankster, isn't he? As well.
I don't know. He's never played a joke on me.
Go on, what were you saying?
In real life, if you have a mental illness like this, or some kind of temporary mental crisis, you are in far more danger from other people than you are to. As yourself, like people, you shouldn't be afraid of people who have a mental issue.
Yeah.
Because they are much more at risk than the population. Like there's this big stigma, and people think that, you know, people with schizophrenia or something are scary and dangerous and criminals and potential, you know, violent. But actually, they're very vulnerable. And so this is why I'm trying to say, I hope this is a separate. This is a separate thing. It's not like a real... No. It can't be an issue storyline. If they're going down this, he's kind of being tricked by himself to become violent, you know.
What I want to happen is that he realises that Malroy is fake, and then Hope comes up to him and saying, "Hey, you should burn the school down."
And he slaps her, like, "Go away, fake Hope." She's like, "What do you do that for?"
I am actually Hope. What are you talking about? I am he maybe Hope can be the angel on his shoulder. The fake Hope can be the nice one that's trying to tell him to back down.
Do you know what I would absolutely love? And I don't think they could do it, but I would really, really love this if he ended up getting a hallucination of John Stape through his connection with Hope, knowing that Hope's dad was a killer and having seen his face on the front of a book. Imagine if they got, is it Graham Hawley?
Yeah.
Was it Graham Hawley?
Yeah.
To come and play John Stape again as a murderous hallucination.
I don't.
Can you imagine him sitting on the bench in Victoria Gardens with John Stape on one side and Malroy on the other, going, "Yeah, kill somebody."
I'm so excited by how bonkers this could get, but I also think, you know, they can't make it too bonkers, because it is a bit of an issue storyline. And I think they're probably trying to teach a serious lesson about psychosis.
I'm sorry, but that's gone out the window as soon as they had fake Roy.
Wow, this is...
I don't know what to say about it. It doesn't feel like It's not responsible, is it? It's not like...
No, it's not responsible.
And how much can we... I don't want it... I'm enjoying it too much to get too... I don't want it to be too serious. I don't know where this is going. And I also feel guilty about enjoying things that are clearly based in reality, that are traumatic and horrible. But I can't help it.
I know that there'll be people out there that saying this is too irresponsible and this was supposed to be serious, and it's...
You can't enjoy anything in a soap. You have to draw a line somewhere. You can't enjoy anything in a soap if you're going to just go around saying you can't like this and you can't like that, because it happens to real people.
It's just putting those two actors together again.
Giving
for something a bit
David
different.
Nielsen a chance to do something quite exciting.
It was... Yeah, so I mean, this was what made Coronation Street great this week. There were a good few bits that I didn't know were going to happen, and it probably was in some of the previews.
Just Roy going, I'm going to talk in a voice like this, yeah.
I wonder what the synopses said for this episode. Sorry,
Sam has a surprising encounter with Roy.
Yeah, they could have given that away. So this could have been quite a twist that nobody saw coming.
This is just what makes me laugh. Also about Twitter and the Swala fans. I love how much they try to interpret what the journos say based on what they get given as the previews, and so you're getting like 3 layers of analysis, and the Swala fans are trying to work it out like listening to Mystic Meg explaining who's going to win the National Lottery. It doesn't make any sense. And once they get to the scene that they've heard being talked about, it's completely different because they've added their own layer of interpretation on the top of it, and it doesn't make any sense in the end.
Yeah, I've just had a look at the preview to today's episode, and it says Roy finds an agitated and distressed Sam surveying a tracking device he found in his school bag. Who is tracking Sam? So that's literally it. But there was pictures of Sam and Roy on the bench for today's episode that people would have seen.
But you could see.
I think this would have caught a lot of people off guard.
Scary face.
Anyway, we must move on. Jodie.
I don't want to. I want to live in that scene forever.
I want to watch it again. I want to watch those scenes again.
Well done, Corey.
Coronation Street doesn't anymore put little compilations of clips out, do they? They only upload to YouTube the full episode.
And if you try and do it, they just copyright strike you.
Anyway, so Jodie this week. I'm happy to kind of rush through this a little bit, even though there's a fair bit that happens.
Jodie is one of these stories I want to like more than I do, but at the moment I feel like I've been blindfolded and spun around in a circle and then had my blindfold taken off, and I'm supposed to know where I am, but I don't.
I think that if the other stories surrounding this one weren't so strong, then we probably would be enjoying it more. I
think if we had a bit more of an idea about the purpose of what Jodie's trying to achieve, it would make sense. Because at the moment, I can't root for her as a villain, and I can't root for her as a goodie who's just being led down the wrong path. Like I don't know what she's about. I can get behind a villain and I can get behind a goodie, but I don't know where she is.
Yeah.
And she's not. It's not. She's clearly one or the other. I think she's a baddie, but she's not. I don't know.
She's not bad enough.
No,
I mean, the fact that she was one of the 5 potential victims, it shows that Corey wants to portray her as a villain. Anyway, it's also the Daniel story, isn't it? Because he's supposed to be out in the countryside having a lovely, relaxing time in some rustic accommodation somewhere.
He's eating mouldy cheese.
Eating mouldy cheese, yeah, exactly.
And crying.
And he's on the phone to Ken at the beginning of Monday's episode. No, I can't give a video call because obviously he is in his darkened flat having a bit of a cry and curling up on the sofa having a bit of a miserable time. Meanwhile, you got Jodie, who's trying to find somewhere else to live, basically. David makes it very clear that he doesn't want her there anymore. She needs to be out today. And she's also kind of still dripping in the idea that what happened between her and David on the night of the wedding was maybe a bit more than a misunderstanding, but Shona just wants it to drop, really, doesn't she?
Yeah. She's trying to find somewhere to live, but she can't.
Yeah, she can't. So she basically, for the week, just goes from place to place, maybe.
Well, she knows that Ken's said, I'm not there at the moment, so she nicks his key. She goes around the back of his house.
She goes in the back, very handily finds the key that's hidden underneath the plant pot, and then goes in there. And I did think that was quite a fun scene. It's like, oh, what's going to happen in here? Because sometimes when you put a character in a set that they have no reason to have anything to do with, it does catch you off guard, doesn't it? So she was sneaking around. I thought, what's she going to uncover?
This must have been one of those moments that felt surreal if you're the actor. Like, I feel like if I was, what's her name?
Olivia Frances Brown.
If I was her, I'd be like, I cannot believe I'm sitting in Ken's chair.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
And it was partly I need to find somewhere to stay.
I'm in Albert Taplock's parlour.
It's partly that she needed to find somewhere to stay, but also you do have this thing with Jodie that she kind of takes over people's lives, and she's trying to take over. She's trying to step into Shona's skin, isn't she? And it did feel a little bit like she was becoming Ken in some ways, where she sits down on the sofa and then starts filling out his crossword, and I was like, what are you doing? Yeah, obviously she just wanted somewhere to crash, but she must have known that
she can't live there.
Steve lives there, Cassie lives there, Tracy lives there.
What
was she doing?
Like, aimless and impulsive criminality is a real thing, but it doesn't play in fiction because everything has a purpose.
Was she literally just there to try and on the off chance that Ken would have a spare key for Daniel's flat, because that's what she ends up finding, isn't it?
She seemed to have broken in there with a purpose, and then she'd achieved something by getting the key. So maybe that was her plan all along.
I can't remember. Maybe we didn't hear everything from the scene, and maybe Ken said, "Oh, I've got a spare key back in the house," and because she knew that Daniel would be away.
Yeah, but that's her plan. When she finds the key, she lets herself in.
Yeah. So she almost gets caught, doesn't she? And she has to hide in the kitchen for a little bit.
Good job there's a giant empty space there that you could have put
next to the dresser,
a dishwasher in or something.
Ken doesn't agree with dishwashers. He's old school.
Imagine what he thinks of AI.
Anyway, so she's got a key to Daniel's flat, which she lets herself into on Tuesday's episode, which, as we said before, is later on in the day on Monday in Weatherfield Universe. Gives him a bit of a shock when he comes out of the loo, because he didn't know, what are you doing letting yourself in? How did you get in? And she tries to spin this lie about finding the door open at first, doesn't she? And he's like, no, you didn't.
Oh, you've got a key in your hand.
Yeah, well, you got a key in your hand. Oh, I found it on the floor.
It's like, no, you didn't.
He didn't really pursue that too much, did he?
I know.
Because
why would you then go, just move in?
Why would Ken have been taking his spare key and then happening to drop it outside the flat? It doesn't make sense. Unless he was asked Ken to water his plants or something. I don't know.
Well, she then says, I think she kind of admits that she was going to crash.
Did she? Oh, I can't remember.
And she says, I'm going to tell Ken that you're here.
Yeah, she says,
so
I can't go back.
Me
Basically, over the course of the episode, yeah, she tells him, they come to some agreements that she can stay there because she needs somewhere to stay. He looks like he needs a little bit of company. And he tells her all about how he was cuckolded by a 16-year-old boy. But
Will's a real victim
in here.
That's such a weird take.
Yeah.
Like, why are you mad about the boy? I think that Daniel's ears pricked up when she said, hello, I'm a professional woman who looks after a man's children for him.
Yes.
And he went, oh, God, you know what? I've been trying to get one of them for years. Can you try this cardigan on?
Even though I'm not as gripped by this storyline anywhere near as much as the others, I have found that Jodie and Daniel have had a little bit of interesting chemistry this week. I'm kind of buying them together.
Isn't it hilarious that he's jumped out of the frying pan and into the fire? Because he's like, that Megan's a psycho. Anyway, Jodie, please feel free to eat my mouldy cheese.
Yeah, exactly. And he's also very, very on brand for Daniel, seeing their supposed damsel in distress.
I know.
Oh, I've got nowhere to stay. There was a misunderstanding between me and David. He came on to me and I knocked him back and now I've got nowhere to live. And it's like so in Daniel's MO to say, don't worry, you can come onto my horse.
Yeah. He's like, hang on a minute. You like kids? Check. You need my help? Check. You're desperate? Check. You seem like you're stupider than me? Check.
I think desperate is
secretly you are
number one in Daniel's dating list.
Far more intelligent than I am, and you're going to run rings around me. Double check.
Do you know how to use an apostrophe correctly? Because Daisy did.
See, the thing about Daniel is that he beats himself up over picking the wrong woman. Like he's so invested in being a genius that whenever he's unlucky in love, he kind of blames himself and like gets mad. So this is going to make him even worse when he finds out he's been out with a kleptomaniac.
But they do both agree at the end of Tuesday's episode that they're not looking out for anything bedroomy.
Do you believe that for a minute?
Just biding his time, isn't he? So Jodie on Wednesday's episode goes round to number 8 again, the Platt's house, to pick up a coat. But really, it's just an excuse to tell Shona, oh, I'm doing fine, I'm staying with my mates.
Don't need you anymore.
By the way, just bringing up again, I know things got weird before with me and David, and Shona's like, no, I don't want to talk about that anymore. Don't want to know what happened to you. Don't know what happened to David. And I was like, and Jodie's like, no, I wasn't even talking about that. It's when I was kidnapped.
She's such a sneak.
Yeah, she says, and she's like, there aren't many people in this life that I can trust, but I know I can trust you, Shona, and kind of heads off with a sad, tragic sigh, just to kind of drip in there that maybe invite me back sometime.
Don't try that on me, babes. I was shut in a box and I've got no emotional intelligence left.
She ends up again having a bit of a chat with Daniel on the sofa later in the episode, which is basically him feeling a bit sorry for himself and talking about the fact that the police want to interview him again, but he's told them that they're away because of the whole Meghan thing, so he knows that's coming. They basically just end up having a bit of a giggle together, and he admits he likes having her there. Thursday is just him extending his holiday, really, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And saying, I quite like this setup that we've got here, Jodie. And the story takes a bit of an unexpected turn on Friday by Jodie picking Cassie as a potential new person to leech onto, to target. Yeah, feels like it's been weeks since we've seen Cassie.
Feels like longer than that to me, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, actually, you're right. I say weeks because maybe it wasn't months, but it's been a long time since she's been on the street, and she was there wandering down. And Doran and new Bertie were there.
Yeah.
I can understand Cassie walking Doran down the street, but I didn't think really she had anything to do with
because
Bertie.
Bertie is Ken's.
Yeah, I know
and
that.
Steve.
But I suppose because Ken's looking after.
And she's going out with Steve, and they live in the same house.
Fair enough. Anyway,
what you imagine you going? I'll take Doran, but not Bertie.
This other kid, yeah,
I'm taking Bertie to school. He's going to the same place, but no.
They go to they talk about. Jodie's asking them about sweets, and Cassie says, "I don't want them to get hyper." Cut to the precinct later. Jodie is feeding them sweets to make them hyper, presumably so that Cassie can say, "Oh, they're so much of a handful. If only I had a living nanny to look after the kids for me." So watch this space next week there. I'd like to like this more. And I mean, I like Cassie. I really like Daniel, despite his many flaws.
Daniel's fascinating.
He's a fascinating guy. Jodie I really want to like, but they're just taking too long.
Thing is, I don't know if I like her. I'd rather hate her, love to hate her, but I don't even love to hate her because I don't know what she's doing.
Yeah.
She's just being a bit bonkers.
I'm sure that when it all comes out, we'll be on the edge of our seats. But they're taking too long.
There's not going to be a word that explains what she's doing.
I want to know what's the deal with her dad. I want to know everything about what's in the box.
Steve Evers.
I want to know why she was in the van in Corriedale. They're taking too long to tell us.
It's the same thing over again. They take too long sometimes. There's nothing. The thing is, it can't be anything that interesting. That's what I'm worried about. It's like she's just a bit balmy. And she's got a personality disorder, and she's gotten mixed up in the wrong thing. I don't think there's any real secret. What do you think the secret is? Well, a bunch of blokes are after her.
Yeah, but we still don't know exactly whether we can believe that she was in that van because of.
Yeah, but I know. But I feel like when they reveal it, I'm going to be like, huh.
That's why they just need to.
That's what I mean. What could it be? What could it be? It's not like, it turns out I'm actually the one that was running the underground evil ring that I recruited Becky to pretend to be dead, and I'm the one who killed that woman. What's the one, the dead one?
The dead woman. What do you mean?
The one that the corpse that they put and said Becky is this corpse.
Oh, Tia Wardley.
I'm Tia Wardley. I'm lurking. What's his face? I'm silent partner.
Right,
the guy, the boss, the old boss.
Bostello.
I'm Bostello. I'm silent partner. I'm everything you've ever dreamed of.
I've never seen Bostello and Jodie together in the same place at once. In fact, pretty soon after Bostello made his final appearance on Coronation Street, I think that's when Corriedale happens. So
yeah, I think it's a bit like what's that? Mission Impossible.
Very undercover.
Mission Impossible, where she's Tom Cruise.
Right.
This whole time, Jodie has been Tom Cruise.
I'm ready to move on.
Method acting for his latest role.
As a
Mancunian tea leaf.
Theo later, perpetrator. The police are taking a bit of a slow burn approach to solving who the murderer is here.
They do a bit of investigating
couple of
every
scenes
now
one
and then.
day, couple of scenes the next day.
Not gonna ask the IT guys really what's going on.
Not gonna really push for what's this brooch doing in Theo's flat.
Not interested in jewellery. I'm a man.
Go on. What's happened?
Says Kit.
You're
Kit and Lisa are talking about the case, and he says, she says, "Oh, why don't you ask Sarah?" And he says, "No, I would never do anything inappropriate in my job." And so they're really all this week they're really on Gary as a suspect.
Yeah. Kit is mostly, I think.
Christina's not happy about with them. They go to the pub and everyone's weird with them. Todd's getting very drunk and annoyed that they think that he did it, and he has a go at them and says, "You should have kept Theo locked up, and I wouldn't have had to kill him."
No, that's what Lisa later on suggested that he might have meant.
Why did you write it like that then?
He just said none of this would have happened. He says none of this would have happened. And Lisa,
she says, yeah, I get
Lisa
it now.
says, oh, was he, this is Tuesday. Yeah.
She's not as sympathetic towards Todd as she was towards Amy that time that she kidnapped a man and left him for dead in the car.
Double standards.
Bit of a bias
DS
there.
Connor Swain.
On Wednesday. On Tuesday he's still grumpy about it and he's keep giving him evils. And Lisa's like, oh, he's trying to intimidate a police officer. Well, maybe if you didn't drink in the local where everybody's hanging out that you think is a murder suspect, they wouldn't be mad at you.
If you didn't goad him publicly.
It feels like provocation. I skipped forward too far. That's what happened. On Wednesday, Kit stops Gary in the street and says, "You done it. Let me look at the builder's yard." And
it's because of that text message that I'm going to come and get you, Theo. Or whatever.
I've got a suspicion that you came and got Theo after you told him you were going to come and get him. Can I look at the builder's yard? And he says, get a warrant. So he does. And then he says, he was killed with a metal object. And you've got loads of them in here.
Gemma, do you want to talk about your amazing Michael Jackson edit that you put together on
No
Wednesday
one liked
night?
it.
Few people liked it.
I just made a funny video of Smooth Criminal by Michael Jackson where he said, you've been hit by some kind of metal object.
And catch the Kit saying metal object. I thought it was very well done, but
it made me laugh.
can't win them all.
Nobody likes my viral videos that don't go viral. If I was on Coronation Street, it would have been on the front page of the Weatherfield Recorder. On Thursday, Summer acts suspicious when Todd comes into the lounge and she's on the laptop, and we find out later that actually it's because she's going abroad to uni. They don't call it uni abroad; they call it college.
I know.
She wants to know the lingo. She's like, oh, I can't leave you and everything that's happened. I'll miss you. It's America. And he's like, just go.
Do you think that she's going to go?
This is what I think.
Or is she going to be act like she wants to go, and the police, just as the police are starting to suspect her, like, oh, you're in a bit of a hurry to leave the country, Miss Spellman. You got something to hide?
I don't know what Harriet Bibby's doing. I don't know what her contract is. I don't know anything, but I do know that if I was writing a murder mystery story, where it turned out that one of my major actors was going to be the killer, and therefore it would be obvious when they was reported that they're leaving the show because they start turning up in panto adverts, that I might cover my arse by saying, "Oh, I'm leaving to go to America or somewhere."
Yeah.
I think I wouldn't be surprised if this did end up with Summer leaving one way or another.
I know. I still don't think they're going to conclude this with Summer having killed him.
Nothing's leaked about whether Harriet Bibby is going or not. I don't know anything about that.
I literally
But what
have
I'm
no
saying
idea.
is that they really should have been doing, there's quite many times where it's been spoiled that someone's going because they go, here's the leaving party of so-and-so actor, and everybody knows they've gone, but it's supposed to be a twist in the story that they leave.
Yeah.
Build it in that this character's going one way or another, and then if it does turn out that she was the killer, then it's not been spoiled that she was leaving.
Yes, I mean, she seems like she's got her heart pretty set on going to America now. So what would happen to stop her doing that?
Felix is the one that got away.
Yeah. If she's innocent, which I still think is quite likely, what's going to stop her going? Because it wouldn't surprise me if she goes, because
I feel the characters come to a conclusion.
Especially with Billy gone.
Billy's gone. Todd's the only one left. She's got this flat. That flat could be used by other characters.
I have had a turnaround on Summer.
I like her.
I found her a bit tiresome
a
few years ago.
She's really come into her own. Harriet Bibby's been given so much great stuff to do. I would be sad to see her go, but at the same time, if I was her, I'd rather leave on a high.
It feels like the time could be right.
But
she doesn't want to go. She wants to say, fair enough.
But totally, I can see them going, right, that's the end of Summer's story. They found out who killed Theo. She's sad. She's going to just hang around in the flat for 6 months, and then we're going to give Summer a new story. And it could be anything. Yeah,
definitely.
There's potential for anything. But equally, there's nothing there now.
I mean, Summer, Amy and Asher
Really?
are just the poster girls for potential. They've got such a
Arrested
great bond.
Development is what they
Real
are.
great bond there. There's some 3 fab characters.
And they're not
they're
doing
young,
anything.
they're but they don't want to do anything with them.
Well.
Anyway.
Yeah, like I said, it's all up in the air really. But I like that they've given this possible exit for Summer. And equally, if she did kill Theo, then getting the hell out of there would be a perfect opportunity.
And this is why I'm kind of just wavering ever so slightly on my Miles theory that I'm considering. I just don't want to block out any other possibility because I'm so insistent and stubborn that it's Miles.
I liked it when Todd was like, "Oh, what are you doing? Looking at? Don't you go to university now?" And she's like, "Look, nobody cares about me as a character. Nobody even knows what I'm doing. Not even you. You're supposed to care." And Gemma's watching this and supposed to be paying attention for the podcast, but even she doesn't know what I've just said.
Yeah.
I don't care about them all going to university and doing nebulous stuff. The only person who's interesting about that is Asher, and she's not doing that now because she had a story about it. That's the trouble. If you get too interesting, they give you a story, and then it all goes wrong.
Goes to pot, doesn't it? Yeah.
So on Friday, Kit's telling Lisa he's pretty sure that Gary done it, and then she says, "Well, we couldn't recover that video of the CCTV of the builder show. I don't know why. I didn't ask him. Not interested. Not important, is it?" Gary and Maria are in the bistro, and he's like, "I didn't kill Theo," just to remind you. And on the way back, they bump into Kit, and Gary is never intimidated by anybody. And he's like, "Give me my stuff back. I need my blunt metal object to kill somebody else."
I love it. He goes, "I'm going to have to start to charge you if you don't give me back too long." And Kit makes some quip about, I'm going to be charging you.
And then charge you back.
But no, but Gary has a bit of a giggle about it. He has a bit of a ha ha ha. He's not intimidated in the least by Kit. And I think it is because he knows he's done it. But he does have quite a good poker face when it comes. He knows he's done it. He didn't do it, sorry. But he does have quite a good poker face in these situations.
Maria's like, "What's your proof?" And Kit says, "Don't need proof. I've got a motive."
Well, he says that I need an excuse to stop investigating. And until I find proof that there's no way you did it, I'm still going to be hounding you, mister.
Well, he's not wrong.
Yeah.
He's got a missing video of exactly the time when there should be proof that he didn't do it. He's got a menacing text message, and he's got this history of animosity between the two people, and a dead guy who fell off scaffolding that Gary put up.
Right, that is it for this week's Street Talk. Gemma, I am eagerly anticipating your score for the week.
Tell you what, Friday saved it so much for Sam and Roy.
There were other good highlights in the week. I mean, we loved the Maggie revelation on Thursday, and I was a big fan of the Tim and Will in the taxi scene, so I've got a lot to like this week.
This was really good, actually. Oh, man.
Jodie's story just let it down just a little bit, and I still am not loving all of the aspects of the hallucinations storyline, particularly the silly music and everything.
Oh, I don't mind it at all. I think it's great.
I'm going to give this week's Coronation Street 4 chair-based chess controversies out of 5. I think 4 feels right for this week.
I'm going to give it 4 times Leanne farted and made it sound exactly like Will exiting the front door of her flat.
Good for you.
Character of the week is Evil Roy. Malroy.
I think Malroy is going to be my character of the week as well. It was just a nice little surprise. I mean, Tim was fantastic. Sam, amazing as always. I really enjoyed I enjoyed a lot of the characters this week, but it's got to be Malroy for me this week as well.
Probably my favourite character of the year.
Does he get an A Up Award nomination this year for the best new character? Because he's not technically Roy. I'm really sorry to everybody that's listening to this that hated the Roy scenes today, but what can you do? What can you do? We loved them. Right, that's it for Street Talk this week.